What's going on this Saturday night, guys? Got a couple other people that said they were going to come in here. I'm going to do a little bit of work, and I thought I'd just get some people to hang out with tonight too. Hope everybody's had a great day, had a great Saturday. The weekend's been really good so far. We had some snow today, so of course all the Northerners had to come in on it. Hey, Carol. Hello, Hank. Anyway, like I said, I thought I'd do some work, and I asked if anybody else wanted to come in, and they said they would. Carol or Hank, if y'all want to come in, I'll give you the link. Hank, did you get any snow down there? Yeah, Carol, go ahead, snow. My next door neighbor just got back from a cruise. They just got back to Miami this morning, and they're headed back. And then she said, I posted a quick video about it snowing on my Facebook, and she commented and she said, it's snowing. I said, yeah. And she said, it's 85 down here. I'm not coming back. Okay. Girl, it is 9 o'clock. Y'all haven't eaten yet? Well, when I took Sasha to work this morning, I noticed that, it just had that feel in the air. And later on, I went into the kitchen and was going out to I went out. We have a utility room where our deep freeze is at, and I went out there. Hey, Mike, to get something, and it was snowing. And I should have been more dramatic about it, but I didn't. You're way off schedule tonight. I mean, I've already passed second dinner and started on third snack. But okay, Craig. So it's everybody's saying, "Oh my God, run out and get the milk and bread! Get the milk and bread!" And I went and pick up Sasha from work a little while ago, and I had to stop by and pick up a couple of things from Food Lion, and I had to go over to the bread aisle to see what was there, and the regular loaf bread had been cleaned out. And I happened to see one of the store managers, and I said, snow? And he said, oh, yeah. He said, why can't people eat the rest of the stuff besides just the white bread? Cool, Hank. Are you going to put that in the car that you set on fire? But they had plenty of milk. So you know how, oh, here she comes. So she's going to bust my chops. I know it, she is. Hey, Tara.
What are you doing? Did you start up a snowmobile today?
No, but on our Facebook marketplace,
yeah,
2 people had snow blowers for sale.
Did it even stick to the ground?
No, it didn't. It just,
no.
It was not. I mean, it was pretty. Okay, we've had our snow for the year. I'm ready for spring to get here.
Well, yesterday when I woke up, the ground was white here. It's gone now, but I mean, it was enough to make the grass white.
It's I mean, it always just sends everybody in a tizzy down here.
Yeah, I can imagine. It does here too, actually. It's kind of cute.
Pizza Studios did a live. He was out on the streets of wherever he lives in Canada. Starts with an
Like
N.
in Toronto or something.
Yeah, someplace up in there. Anyway, he was driving around and just complaining about the way people were parking. And hey, David. Hey, D90 Bell. He was talking about the way people were parking, and I thought to myself, my God, that's Charlotte with snow, because people were like, there's a little slot big enough to put a little import car in, and they would just back into it, and the nose is sticking out in the road. And he's like, if the snowplow comes by here with wings, whatever that means,
Yeah.
he said it's going to take the front of that car off.
Yeah. That's a wing is they got like if you have a V plow, they'll have that side wing that goes out then and then
Right.
they plow with that. One time, okay, I'll tell you a story. This is gonna freak you out. Jim used to be on the fire department up in Wisconsin, and this lady rear-ended one of those salt plow trucks, and they have those wheels on the back, the metal wheel that like spreads the salt or sand or whatever. And it went through her windshield and hit her in the head. And she was like, "Oh my God, am I gonna die?" And they're like, "No, ma'am, you're gonna die." And Jim's like, "I thought she was gonna die. Her head was like swelled up like a watermelon." She lived and everything. But anyway, that wheel ended up on the pavement of the road. So the firemen are like, "Well, let's pick it up and we'll move it off the road." And the county guy was there. He's like, "Oh, you guys are funny." He goes, "No, you ain't gonna lift that up. We gotta get a front end loader down here in order to move it because that's how heavy of a piece of metal it is. And it's only like maybe that big, but it was that heavy that you couldn't have a couple guys pick it up." Anyway.
Hi
guys, how are you doing?
It's just Tom.
Hi Tom.
Okay,
Hey,
shoot.
Brandon.
Hi people on YouTube.
Okay, shoot. You got a milk mustache. Go clean it up.
Hey.
Anyway. Where I used to live, what they do in the city is they have these big snow blowers that are on the front of on like a loader, and then they bring a dump truck in and they put the dump truck in front of the big snow blower and put the dump truck in neutral, and the snow blower goes up to the back of the dump truck and then pushes the dump truck down the street while it's filling it full of snow.
Wow.
Yeah. And they'll take out, I mean, like if there's like, a big snow, I mean, they'd be running like 20, 25 dump trucks of snow just off the small city blocks,
Right.
Anyway.
Up here, well, I had to go over to where the overpasses were, and I don't think they had put any, salt down or anything on it. Because we have two really big overpasses, and they freeze up really.
I see the signs when I go south. Bridges freeze before roads, which I kind of thought everybody knew that, but they have those signs everywhere when you go south.
Well, it's because we don't get it down here. Okay, give us a little break on that. It's not like.
I will say though, I haven't experienced it yet, but Jim was down here last year unloading stuff, and they had this thing on the radio. It's like flash freeze warning, and Jim's like, "What in the heck is a flash freeze?" It's like 40 or whatever. He's unloading stuff. Well, the temperature dropped so fast. He was in the box truck. It made the ramp get like a coating of ice on it, and he wiped out and fell off the box truck last year. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, freezing
Yeah.
can be wicked. Hey, Brandon, turn that down. Turn it down. Turn that down.
It's a good thing you didn't break your hip or anything.
Yeah, he was carrying something too. I forgot. He's like, "Oh my God." He goes, "I was laying on the ground like, oh Lord," but he was all right.
It's so like I said, we've had our little snow today, and it's time to get to springtime. You need to get down, honey. Just my body will not take it tonight.
It was 70 here on Monday.
Yeah.
Monday was 70, and Friday morning there was snow on the ground.
It's just crazy, Well, we had the hurricane yesterday,
I didn't know there was a hurricane out there.
Well, not a hurricane, but it was. Man, it rained like the tornadoes. Really, I guess you'd have to say.
Well, we've been getting a lot of rain here too.
And it was. That's how I was taking some. It was pouring down rain. I was taking some mail out to the mailbox, and a gust of wind hit me, and I dropped some daggum mail. It went running down the gutter. I tried to chase it. I took my coat off and slung it at it because one of them was a package. One of them was a padded envelope going that was an eBay item. So I lost my balance and I tumbled, and I think I broke. What the hell are you doing back here? Anyway, I think I broke. Well, I did. I fractured some ribs when I hit the asphalt.
Oh my.
And so I've just been whining and carrying on, and like I'm sitting here, it doesn't bother me. If I'm standing up, it doesn't bother me. It's that transition from sitting to standing that really.
Oh wow.
Who is muted?
I don't know.
Okay.
He said I was muted, but I'm not.
Okay.
Now.
Hey, Nikki, how are you tonight?
Yeah.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We lived through our blizzard.
It's so funny. I know. I was I'm still sick. I was I'm the one who said, "Oh my God, did you get your milk and bread?"
Yeah.
I was really concerned for you. I didn't know if you were going to make it.
Oh, we're okay. We are okay. It's I will survive. And it started to act like it was getting ready because it will be just wet. The ground will be wet. The snow will be falling. And you're thinking it's not going to stick. And then all of a sudden it starts sticking. And then it, accumulates quickly. And the air kind of reached that feel like it was going to do the transition, but it didn't, thank goodness. I know you people that live up north think, "Oh, y'all are so cute." Good morning or good evening, blended whiskey. I know you are saying, "Oh, y'all are so cute," concerned about your little bit of
I
snow.
know you are. I will
And y'all
say,
get like 7 feet of snow in 2 hours.
when you're saying, "Oh no, it can turn quickly and start accumulating," I woke up yesterday morning. Well, there might have been a ½ inch on the ground, enough to make everything white, but that's enough to make them all freak out.
I can hear Taylor yelling at Jim. We didn't move far enough south.
No, I don't mind having snow. It just goes away. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like Lexington, that's about like an hour north of me. I had like on Facebook, the mayor had because they got a little more snow than us. They had the mayor doing like a news conference on the snow conditions. I'm like, good grief. Jim's always like, I would like to just take these people if I had one of those Star Trek teleporters and just teleport them to northern Wisconsin, for like an hour and see what they would do.
Well, that's just it. We've never had to deal with real snow.
No.
I mean, 84, 85, I think that was the year we had 9 inches and it stayed on the ground for a week and we got 9 more inches. That's the only really big snow I ever remember.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because it just got just warm enough that the snow would start melting on the roads and the driving on the roads would cause it to melt. And then it immediately start, freezing again. So, that's really my only historical connection with
Well, it used to be colder because look at during the Revolutionary War, the Potomac froze. Remember Washington crossed the Potomac?
Yeah.
So maybe it's going to go back to that, Tom.
It's global warming. Hey, Julie.
Oh, no. When it gets too cold, that's climate crisis. When it gets too warm, that's global warming.
Okay. Well, we're having a climate crisis down in the south. Okay. Okay, I want to need to get some work done here, okay? We've been laying around doing nothing all day long.
Are you getting those cats wrangled up?
The outside ones?
No, is that what you're talking to?
Yeah, I'm talking to Roxy.
That you're yelling at your cat?
Yeah, she's been like I said, if I get like in a sitting position, I don't have any problems. When I stand up, that's when it feels like somebody's sticking a knife in my back and twisting it. Or my side, actually. So I got it. You cannot have chili Fritos. So we laid in the recliner with a heating pad on my back, and she laid and slept just about all day. So she's gonna be up all night. You need to go on now. Go get. You got 3 chairs in there in the heating pad, please. Anyway, how has y'all's days been?
All right. Nothing very exciting.
Did you go to an auction today?
No, we don't really have right now. We don't have too much for Saturday auctions right around me. I went to an auction Thursday night.
Yeah, did you buy anything much?
Yeah, I got a little bit of stuff. I got some stripper boots or something. They're called man eaters.
Man eaters.
Yeah, go look them up. I don't have mine aren't listed right now. I paid $5 for mine. They're new in the box. Look up man eater boots. They're these like thigh high, lace up black boots they're man eaters, all right.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And here's some girls' cowboy boots that's got the toe part of it looks like shark's mouth.
Yeah, that comes up. That's not them though. They'll be the black. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got some other stuff, and I can't really remember exactly what it is off the top of my head.
That's all right.
I got like some football jerseys, which I guess isn't really exciting to talk about, and some other stuff.
Oh God. Okay, let's see if I can figure out how to do this. I'm going to share a screen.
You gonna screen share it?
Yeah, don't share screen. Okay, that's what I want to. No, that's not what I want to share. I want to share.
I've been a lazy butt all day. All I did today was make dinner.
I took pictures today, and I was listing earlier. I got to finish these listings up.
Why will it not? Okay. Can you see those?
No, not yet. Well, I'm on the YouTube one. Yeah, now I can see it.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep, that's them.
Oh, Lord. Carol, don't you need a pair of those?
Yeah, this guy that he goes to these, he doesn't own the auction, but he's friends with them and he's bringing stuff in. Well, he's going up and buying all these storage units on like Storage Treasure and stuff and just bringing the contents down and dumping them down. And so I bought these boots for like $5. They're new in the box. And I think, what are they, like 110 or something like that?
Those are $119.96.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. It'd take you 45 minutes to get into the damn thing.
Yeah.
Howdy, Texas Tigress.
Oh.
So have you tried them all?
Hell no. I'll bust my ass. I'll be like you, falling down in them. No.
Mhm.
That looks like something you
No,
just.
they're new. I don't. They're new. I'm not gonna wreck them by putting them on myself. I think my legs are too fat anyway.
You look nice in those, Carol.
Yeah, she's so skinny.
Mhm.
Yeah, she probably would look nice, but I don't think like the image that you'd be portraying wearing those boots would necessarily be one that you'd want to do. I mean,
Hi,
yeah,
everybody. Yeah, by the way.
you know, if you like went to the club in those boots, I bet you'd be getting a lot of attention. I don't know if
Yeah.
you'd want it.
Yeah, not really the attention you want.
Yeah.
Carol wear those to the PTA.
If you're gonna do like pegging or stripping or something, then yeah, you could make money with them.
Granny with hooker boots, no thanks. It's you know, you just got to live. I don't, you know, I see some of these when you list those. Those are not mine, Texas. Those are Tara's.
Yeah,
She
and
said
that's not
you
my
add
listing.
BDSM when you do the, you know, use that for a tag.
What'd you say?
Texas
Oh.
Tigers Design said to use the tag BDSM
Yeah.
when you list those boots.
Where's my-
Was Jim with you when you bought them?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he goes with me on. He usually goes with me. That it's very often does Jim not go to the auction with me, just because it's like, well, we like doing it too. We like going to them, you know. It's our kind of fun.
Yeah, I understand. I just can't imagine how long it takes to lace them damn things up.
Yeah, too long for me. Thank you very much.
And if you find a fella and you take him home, is he going to lose interest before he gets it all unlaced?
Yeah.
Like, oh, never mind.
Well,
Much work.
probably the thing about those boots are if you're wearing the right kind of bottoms, you never have to take the boots off.
Yeah, I guess.
Mhm.
So that I got some basketball jerseys, like some starter ones, some other junk, some cookies, some other junk. I can't even remember what I all got.
I went to the auction the other night and didn't buy shit.
You bought fish?
I didn't buy shit.
Oh,
Why
I thought you
not?
said you bought fish.
No.
Didn't see anything.
Mm-mm. And
Hey,
I didn't
Steve.
want to wait for. I didn't want to wait for the tables. I didn't want to be there anymore, so
Oh, okay.
Oh, you left early? Icky.
I did. I wasn't really feeling it. I've been really sore lately and not feeling well lately, so I just kind of laying low.
Yeah. That Jim's got a cold too.
Oh, wow.
They canceled school down here again. So the week before, Brandon went to school Monday, Tuesday. Then they canceled school Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because the flu's going around. So then he
Oh,
goes
wow.
back to school Monday and Tuesday. I pick him up on Tuesday. He's like, "Oh yeah, did you hear the news on Facebook?" I'm like, "No." Yeah, they canceled school again. Wednesday,
Oh.
Thursday, Friday down here, and not just like the county we live in, but like 3 counties around us.
Why?
Because of the flu, I guess.
Yeah, the flu hit the school really hard up here too. I know. My friend is the auctioneer's sister. She does the kitchen at the auctions. She said that there's been lots of hockey games that were canceled because of the flu because there was just so many
Oh,
kids
yeah.
on the team that were out
Huh.
because of the flu. You know.
Yeah.
So they just canceled the hockey games completely, and
Huh.
Well, it's been, you know, everything down here is like, have you had your flu shot? Have you had your flu shot? I got my flu shot last year and then I got sick. I mean, right after I got the flu shot.
You know what? Last year I had the flu, 3 times last year? I got my flu shot this year and I haven't had the flu once. I mean, I got a cold, but I don't have the flu.
So it's just running rapid this year. Cindy, I got some Harry Potter stuff, some batteries, just odds and ends.
Well, it was last week when we went to church. Nobody shook hands. And my daughter says, since when do we not shake hands after the Our Father? And well, for those of you that aren't Catholic, after we say the Our Father, we shake hands and say peace be with you to other people around us, right? And I says, not during flu season, we don't shake hands.
A friend of mine's Catholic, and they said, when you come and you dip in the hand in the holy water and you do the cross and whatnot.
Yeah.
He said they've stopped that this year. The head priest of the church said that God wouldn't mind for a few weeks because they're just scared that people are going to get sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going rampant around here, boy. Crazy. I know my nephew, he's got 5 kids in his house. Young little kids, and I mean he's been sick I don't know how many times this year.
Huh.
And this time it's been hanging on. I told him, I said, you should get to the doctor,
Yeah, Brandon had the sniffles like the last couple of weeks on and off.
Well, his have been like put him right down in bed, and he's a young man. He shouldn't be in bed for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, Brandon didn't get it that bad.
Schools are nothing but a breeding zone.
Yeah, if you want to get sick, send your kid to school.
Yeah.
Well, I can understand. Well, that one of the school districts around here had the teachers, like a lot of teachers were out, and so they had to cancel school because they didn't have any teachers.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything like they were striking or anything like that. They were legitimately sick.
Yeah.
They had to close the schools. I still have contact with the headmaster of the private school that the boy Sasha and Sergey went to. Because sometimes, like when I'm out and about, I'll go to Walgreens and I'll still have like their fruit juices for 10 cents a bottle because they're clearance. So I'll call him and say, "Hey, you want some of these for the vending machine in the lunchroom?" And so I'll buy them and stuff like that. Anyway, when it was snowing today, I sent him a text message saying, "Hey man, it's snowing. Are we going to have school on Monday?" And he's like, "Shut up." He's already received 3 messages from students saying, "Are we going to have school on Monday?"
Mike said fist bumps at church. I remember a few years ago at church, the priest was like, just bump elbows. I remember one time last year I was really sick at one time, and I had these 2 elderly people that were sitting behind me, and it was time to shake hands. And I told them, I said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to shake your hand." I said, "I'm very, very sick. I don't want to give it to you." And they were like, "Thank you. I really appreciate that." Because old people, they, that can mean life or death with them,
Yeah. Yeah, we know.
They tell you here, like, if you're that sick, just miss church. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was very careful not sneezing all over the place and stuff like that. I mean, I, sneezed in my shirt and stuff. So I had it for quite a while. So, I mean, it wasn't like I didn't think I was so contagious,
Ansley, I did not see you come in. Hey, girl.
Hi, Ainsley.
You got snow today, too?
Oh.
Yeah, because she's like down by Atlanta almost, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see when.
Oh, did you hear the news?
What?
Okay, this is big. You ready for it?
Oh.
So I'm
Later.
watching Facebook the other day, and the preview for the new season of Mama June from Not to Hot's coming back, and she's gonna be back on the show.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Hold me back.
I knew you guys
Thank
would be excited. I knew you'd all be excited about that.
Wow. 2 inches.
What night is that on? Maybe I'll have to watch it just so I
I
got
don't
something
know.
to talk about.
I'll have to look up. I don't even know.
Oh.
I
You'll
don't.
have to let me know.
I gotta figure out how I'm gonna watch it. We don't have DirecTV or anything. We were supposed to get DirecTV, and the guy never came and hooked it up. So Jim's like, "Well, screw it." He goes, "We'll save the $100 or whatever," because my husband's
I
like
have a-
cheap ass.
I have a new program that I use. You can watch live TV, but I don't know how to install it. That I'd have to ask Gary. But I use it on my phone. I don't know if you can use it on your computer or not, but it's called USA TV and Radio.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it. It's on my phone. That's all it is. I don't put it on my computer because I just don't trust them things.
Um.
But I watched the Slayton sisters on it and we're good.
Mm.
The 1,000-pound sisters.
I'm
That's
listening
Honey
to
Boo Boo,
these.
right?
Go ahead, Tom.
Mama June is Honey Boo Boo, right?
Yeah.
Have you been watching Precious Plum, Nikki?
I just watched the one.
What the hell's a precious plum?
It's college humor, I believe, is what the YouTube channel's called, and they're making fun of
Honey
Honey
Boo
Boo
Boo.
Boo.
Oh, okay.
And the mother always starts it off, the little teaser and before the credits, if you want to call them that. She goes, and she's my precious plum.
Mm.
Because the daughter,
It's dumb humor, but it's funny.
it's funny because it's, I just sat here and cackled about it myself, My precious, because
I'm ashamed to admit this. So one time we were in Florida. We had the horse
You're
trailer
more
on.
ashamed to admit something that you watch Mama June.
No, this is way worse than that. So I got paid to take a horse down to Florida. We went to Florida, went to Disney and everything. We're driving home with the horse trailer on, and Jim map quested how to drive past when it was just still in when they were still in I forgot the name of that little town. But anyway, when they were still with like Sugar Bear and stuff, to map to drive by the house. And we're driving up through Georgia. I'm like, Jim, we shouldn't do this because that would be like too weird at this point. Anyway, he map quested it. And I think it was called like McIntyre they used to live in. But when you would leave the highway up there, it would be like an hour to the east of where we're driving. I think that's 75 or whatever. So we didn't do it, but it did cross our mind.
well, the people that the town that they filmed the original Walking Dead in,
Yeah.
they've been complaining because they've had so many people come into town, it just causing all this traffic and stuff like that because of the TV show. Hell, not me. I'd be out there doing walking tours of that place.
Yeah, but they got like stores and that set up in that town where they sell stuff and they make money off it. Us with the Honey Boo Boo thing, that was getting a little weird stalkerish. I'm like, yeah, we probably shouldn't do that.
Oh,
Tara, look at the chat. Julie was asking questions about the Mama Bear thing, or whatever the hell her name is.
Did she get no? I don't think so. I mean, she had to go to trial because she got caught with those drugs in Alabama, but I mean, as far as I know, she didn't. And then there's that video where her crazy boyfriend's like staggering drunk. He like hit her house and stuff with his SUV. I mean, yeah, they're real off the rails. Yeah, she did have the weight loss surgery, but then in the last season, she started putting the weight back on. She was back eating like, ho-hos and all just like junk food again.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't realize that you can't go back to eating what you were eating because yeah.
Yeah. Well, she put herself through the surgery and everything. She had the gastric bypass or whatever. And then, like, the surgery, because they have to, like, snip out all this, like, hanging, drooping skin and stuff. So you put yourself through all that surgery and then to put the weight back on. I think that's a little dumb, but it's my opinion.
And I heard that skin surgery is one of the most painful surgeries you'll ever have.
I can imagine. I mean, they're cutting it off and sewing it back together. And like in here, because you would have all this loose stuff here and like all the extra stomach skin and stuff. I mean, you put yourself through all that surgery. I mean, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think she's as big as she was though before she had the surgery, but she definitely was getting back up there. So anyway.
No, but she's on the road to it.
Yeah.
Skinny Mama June is not going to sell like fat Mama June.
I used to like the Honey Boo Boo like show when they were kind of a family together, and not that some of their stuff was crazy and they were a little redneck and stuff like that. But I thought redneck. Yeah, I was like, you know what? These are like real people here. They're real. Some of the stuff they eat, like sketty and stuff, I'm like, oh, good Lord, there's no way I'd eat at her house. But anyway,
no.
But they were like real. They're just real, regular people, and so that was kind of fun to watch. But then she went off the damn rails. Anyway.
Yeah. I couldn't watch it after the toe thing. When she had fruit flies in her toe.
What do you know? They doctor that up for TV. She's got forklift foot, so like when she goes swimming, she wouldn't take her socks off because she's got her toes messed up because it got ran over by a forklift or something. Anyway, so
well, it was all infected or whatever, and she had like fruit flies in it.
Yeah, they had flies around it and stuff, but I don't know. I think they were doctoring it up. I don't know if it was that bad, but it was gross looking, and I don't like gross looking feet.
What are you telling me that they trained the flies to swarm her foot?
Well, I don't know what you could have put something on her foot though to attract the flies, like some old shitty rancid apple juice or something. Those flies have been all over it. I mean, that's just something I can just think of off the top of my head. How could I attract a bunch of flies? Oh, I don't know. How about some old stinking rotten apple juice? I'll pour it on your feet, and the flies are gonna come, and then we're gonna film them.
I wonder how much a fly trainer gets paid.
Anyway,
Don't be sure and spin off to all your friends out there if they're a Honey Boo Boo fans. Come over to my channel.
We sold this RV to these people that were down by Atlanta, and they came up to northern Wisconsin, picked it up, and drove it home. Anyway, I'm like, oh wow, you live in Georgia where Honey Boo Boo lives. They're like, oh God, she's the worst representation of the state. Anyway, I'm like, oh yeah, if I lived down there, I'd definitely go over there. Anyway,
and
I think her sister owns some kind of like pallet return store or something, where they sell like that, freight damage stuff, or probably buying pallets and, selling it. I don't know if she still does it or not.
That was the older sister?
Yeah, and what the heck was her name? Dodo.
Honey Boo Boo must be about 16 now.
She's at least 14, I think.
But
she's a big girl too. I mean, she's really, really expanded too.
You were talking about the people going, yeah, that's a real representation of Georgia. That's like when somebody would say, where are you from? And I'd say, well, at that time it was Rock Hill, South Carolina. And they said, oh, you're near Jim and Tammy. And I'm like, yeah. PTL not far away from us.
There used to be a reality show in Carolinas, but I think it was South Carolina. Remember it was Myrtle Beach. Remember they had like that trailer court that was in that like by Myrtle Beach, and there was like the dynamics of all the people that lived in the trailer court. It was really a good show too.
Yeah. Or if I knew somebody that had a trailer park that had some empty spaces, we'd do a reality show just slightly scripted. Because I've known some people that have lived in trailer parks that give trailer parks bad names. And there's nothing wrong with living in a mobile home. Not one.
You know what we have here, and a little bit, not too much here, a little bit, but like I looked at some property that's south of me, down towards like Burkesville, Kentucky, and they're not in mobile homes, but they're in those. You ever see like they sell them at Lowe's, but you'll have, you know, like buy a tiny house, but it would be like
Yeah.
buy a garden shed, but they make it where you can kind of live in the garden shed.
Right.
They live in those things, and they'll have like, you know, 10 of them together in a cluster, and they're all living in these little tiny garden sheds. I'm like, I don't think I'd want to live in one of those.
Well, you know, honestly, if you're a young person that's just getting started in life, that would be the perfect thing to, you know, because now they do up some of them that are really nice. You know, they've got insulation, they're sheetrocked on the inside. They got hardwood floors, you know, little kitchenettes and stuff like that.
Okay, well, these aren't that nice. I'm going to tell you, these look like garden sheds.
Okay.
These are like garden sheds.
Well, that's what they've done with these. They've taken these and they've, you know, dressed them up really nice on the inside. Put a little front porch on the front of them. That would be ideal for somebody just starting off because it should be cheap.
But they're not that cheap. I mean, you could build some. If you ever go look at the price of those things, I mean, like,
yeah.
they'll be like, you know, $10,000-$20,000. I mean, but what it costs in materials to build that thing, you could build it yourself way cheaper than that if you have the ability to do that.
I was talking about like renting.
A lot.
I was talking about renting as like an apartment or something of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, a one bedroom, an efficiency apartment in Charlotte is like $850.
Oh yeah.
The lady that I work on her computer from, she has a 3-bedroom condo. I mean, 3-bedroom apartment, and she pays $4,000 a month.
Oof, though.
Oh.
Hey, Harry. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Hi, Harry.
$4,000 a month. I'm like, why don't you buy you another place? She says, Tom, I'm 80 years old. I'm not going to be around that much longer. And I said, I hope so. I hope you're around a lot longer than you think you are. She said, when I die, they can come get my stuff and we're done. But, you know, that whole apartment thing is really a big deal here. Affordable housing and whatnot.
Mm.
It's going to keep getting worse because we keep bringing in technology companies and stuff like that, where people are making some big jacks. So
yeah, it's like Florida is exploding too. That's why Jim's mom and sister want to get out of there. It's just and Jim was down. He goes, I didn't go down with him last time, but anyway, he's like, Tara, you wouldn't believe how much crazier it is driving down there, like around Kissimmee and Orlando, than it was the last time you were there. It's just exploding. And I was listening to something on Fox and Friends, some guy that is in Florida, like a business guy that relocated from California down to Miami. And they want to say, because you get all these like New Yorkers and everything migrating down there, that there's like, just in Miami area, they figured like 800 people a day relocating and moving down to that area.
Hey, Joanna. Well, you know, I make the joke, but I'm serious. Even people that I know that are, you know, they were born and raised in Florida. I make the joke about once you cross the Georgia line into Florida, you started headed north again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the truth. But I follow. Damn, I forgot his name now.
Mm.
He goes to all of these he drives back roads and stuff like that. I've talked about him before.
Yeah, I've watched him. I know he goes off the beaten track to like YouTube location stuff on
Yeah.
different areas. I forgot
Um,
it.
God, I can't remember what his name is. I'll think of it in a minute. All of a sudden, I'll shout it out. But he grew up. He grew up in Kissimmee, and he went back after not being there for a couple of years. And he's like, "Where did all this come from?" You know, and he was going over to where the Nickelodeon studios used to be, and he was like, where did all this stuff come from? It wasn't here the last time." And you can
Well,
hear
when
his father off camera, Adam the Woo. That's it. If y'all
No.
haven't ever watched Adam the Woo, y'all watch some of his stuff. He has really got some great stuff. And his parents are ready to move out of Florida, or out of that area, because it's like super grown up now.
Where Jim's parents are in Kissimmee, they're next to what used to be Horse World, which was like, I don't know, 700 acres of all this horse crap down there. But now that's all been sold off and divided up, so it's like all turning into subdivisions and stuff. And like when you used to drive out of Kissimmee there, like when I first started seeing Jim, I always thought it's cool because I was like, wow, you're not that far from Orlando, but you'll be going past like, these beef cattle farms and stuff like that. They got like longhorns out in the field and stuff. But now it's like all those fields are kind of like developed up and turned into all these like postage stamp lots with these big houses on them. That all and all the houses look the same. They'll be like in a variety of like, let's say 4 different shades of siding, but they're all pretty much basically the same house anyway.
Track houses.
Yeah. I mean, they're nice houses, but they're just basically, or they'll have like 3, 4 different variations. So they try to mix them up, but then it turns into like an order because you have like the 4 same kind of houses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 4, 1, I don't know. It's turning into a pattern.
I know some families a family that has about 500 acres north of Orlando. And right now they're just renting it out to one of those thoroughbred farms down there, and they have their horses on it. And he's like, sooner or later, everything's going to be built up to that piece of property, and somebody's going to
by Orlando or by Ocala? I thought there's more horses in Ocala.
He said Orlando. So he might have meant Ocala. Thank you. But he said somebody soon is going to want to buy that, and when they do, they're going to pay because they all live up here. His grandfather was years and years ago, pre-Disney, went down there. He was thinking about moving down there, so he bought this big tract of land, and they never did. There's no like structures on it or anything like that. They did have it fenced in because the guy next door wanted to rent it. He's just sitting waiting. They're paying the taxes. Yeah, Cypress Gardens. That was. I think they have it. In that Legoland now.
Yeah, I think so.
But they have gone back to doing something like they have the Dixie Bells or whatever they're called, and the girls in the big poofy skirts, and they do.
I don't know. I've never been to Legoland. I don't know.
Yeah, we had a neighbor. I went to high school with her. She would go to Florida during the summer, and she would ski at Cypress Gardens.
Huh.
Yeah, all that stuff is gone, and that's sad. We used to have this place called Succo Gardens up here up in the North Carolina mountains. And they had all these snakes and reptiles and creepy crawlers, and you could go by there in the summer, and that place would be packed. You'd have to park down on the side of the road, and it's completely boarded up, about to fall down now.
I like going to Gatorland down there. I mean, that's kind of like the redneck theme park, It only takes about a half a day, and we don't do it every time because it's like, well, how many times can we go walk around looking at alligators? But I usually try to do it like every second or third trip down there.
A redneck theme park. Okay, kids, here's your cup full of watermelon seeds. Now, see if you can spit them through that toilet.
Yeah, if they had something like that, it wouldn't surprise me. The only thing I ever question is they have a zip line that goes over the alligator pond, you know? So we're watching it, and Jim's like, no way. He goes, you see where they feed those alligators with those chickens on those lines? They're already trained to eat stuff off the line. There's no way I'm going on a zip line over a damn alligator pond.
Is that the place that they filmed the James Bond movie at?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's one spot. It's the Spy, not Spy Who Loved Me. Live or Let Die. They the bad guys put him out on this little island and throw all these pieces of chicken around him, and the alligators come running, start crawling up on the island.
Yeah.
And he does the James Bond thing where he runs across their backs to get off the island.
Uh-huh.
Well, in real life, the stuntmen, they went through like 3 stuntmen because 2 of them got bit pretty bad
Ugh.
as they were running. But I believe it was Gatorland is where they filmed that at.
They have, okay, now I'm going to tell you this. You can't bust me because this was about 5 years ago now. They have those signs everywhere, don't feed the alligators. Well, I didn't do it, so it doesn't really count. But there was these people that they have like these walking wood bridges. You go out and walk around these like enclosures or whatever. There was an alligator they can go under the bridge because there's water. And there's an alligator just laying there in the water. So this guy next to me had like a half a sandwich. He threw it in the water, and holy Christ, that thing could move fast and go grab that sandwich. I would not mess with an alligator.
Yeah.
No.
Joanna says she wants to take their inflatable boat to Silver Springs. My husband thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah, didn't a lady get eaten by an alligator there snorkeling like 5 years ago?
Oh. Oh, thanks.
We went over to Crystal River. That's where I took my open water scuba diving test at. And we went down in one of the springs over there and did the open water emergency ascent and all that kind of stuff. And then we swam with the manatee. The next day we went over to a river, and it was not a wide river. It was maybe 25 feet wide. At some spots 5 feet deep, some spots 15 feet deep. And they put us in, and the current just flows down through there. And they dropped us in the water, and then they took the vans and stuff and picked us up down the river a ways. And the water was crystal clear. And so we're down. We were, in buddy teams, and we were going down through there, basically just gliding with the water, with the currents. And when we got finished, we had sort of a guide. He said, "Did y'all see the alligator?" And people are like, "What alligator?" He said, he pointed to me and my dive buddy. He said, "Y'all swam under him." We said, "That was a log." He said, "No, that log had eyes." But he said, "You're okay because you're underwater and they don't bite underwater."
Okay, I'm not going to test that theory.
Me either. But he says, they bite on the surface and then they take you under.
Well, they eat big fish and shit. They eat those underwater.
Hey, he's the professional, Tara.
Okay, well, they eat fish, and fish are underwater, so obviously they have to bite underwater to catch a damn fish.
Yeah, what's his face? That Australian was a professional too, and look what happened to him.
Yeah, he was
two pounds defense, so that was a stingray, not.
Well, I know, but still.
Yeah, he was.
Sure.
No, he was a little over the top.
Okay, and wait a minute. Now that story you just said about that guy that dropped that sandwich in the water, it went underwater, and that alligator chopped it right under the water, not on top of the water. It was under the water.
Well, I don't know, Tara. That's just what the man said.
Probably was telling you so you wouldn't be scared.
Well, he was, and guess what? He did a good job of it. Yes. We were like, we're not getting back in the damn water. We are done. We passed our test.
Oh yeah, because there was that lady. No, I don't know if it was at Crystal Springs, but it was that Indian River in Florida, and this was like, oh, it must be 5 or 6 years ago. She was like snorkeling with the manatees, and an alligator attacked her and like killed her or half ate her or whatever in the water. So obviously, it could bite in the water too.
I'm just going by what he said. Okay.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't really like swimming in like lakes and stuff. It always kind of freaks me out. Even like up in Wisconsin, I mean, I can do it, but I'd always be like, like if a stick touches me or something, it kind of freaks me out.
That water's too cold for anything except a damn fish.
No, I've swam in it plenty, but I don't like I don't
Small
like
lakes aren't cool.
I don't like weeds touching me or sticks touching me or.
Hey, Beth,
I bet.
you got time you want to pop in? I'll give you the link if you do. Or if anybody else wants to come in. I'm just correcting some of the 23 things that I need to correct to make eBay happy.
Oh, God.
I got a message saying you've got 23 items that you need to add to.
Oh my God, I get that all the time. It's the clothing you sell. It's
No,
my
it's
hard
not.
goods. I don't usually have that problem.
Joanna, them alligators that crawl in with you.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry. We're just not good enough for her. Just kidding, Beth. Just kidding, Beth. Don't get all antsy on me.
We're not Sally or Valerie.
I know. Yeah.
Mhm.
I promise I won't cry because you won't come on my show.
I will though. Mhm.
Yeah, and that was parents' stupidity there. Julie says it wasn't too long ago that Gator got that 2-year-old off the beach at the Grand Floridian. In hindsight, you see them all over down there.
Well, and in hindsight, like now I think they put a fence up or you can't go to the water's edge. You had because they're tourists or feeding the alligators, or you're training the alligators that it's a food source. I mean, you are talking about a reptile, so I mean, it's
Yeah.
It's discerning what's a food source and what's a not. I mean, it just knows that humans would go there and throw food in the water. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really, I can't imagine if that was my baby, because the guy followed the alligator in the water. He tried to get it away, the baby away, and he just couldn't do it. I mean, I don't know what I would do. I couldn't hardly live with myself.
Well, I couldn't even imagine
What
that.
gets me is why was not somebody not dead? You got a 2-year-old in this lake that it probably falls off like 5 feet when you step,
Yeah.
into the water. Why was somebody there? Why was a parent not with them? And
Well,
by
that's what I wonder.
God,
I mean, up here we don't have alligators, but you still don't see people leaving their 2-year-old to go out on their own in the lake.
yeah.
You know?
So,
Well, I can see how that happens. I mean, because I remember like when Brandon was little, I mean, I had a really scary thing happen with him once. And so, I mean, it's just like one of those things where you think maybe he's with his mom or you think he's with his
Yeah.
dad and they're off doing some, toddler mischief somewhere. I get it how that could happen, It's
That's
very
true. I mean,
unfortunate.
we don't always have our eyes on them,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't realize it was at night. Then they're even stupider.
Yeah, it was dark. It was like 9 or 9:30 or something. I
They
think it
were.
was dark, or sunset. Yeah.
Well, then that really don't make any sense because why would you let your 2-year-old out at night?
Yeah.
Well, they were having were they setting up to watch the fireworks or something? But they must have had some kind of like beach cookout or something down there. I don't remember exactly, but
I mean, yeah, I mean, with toddlers, we've all turned our heads before and they've done something stupid,
I'll tell you, when I lived up in Wisconsin, yeah, Brandon was about 2.5. And we were on our property on the farm, and he wandered off on us. And me and Jim couldn't find him. I mean, I was freaking out. I don't know if he got kidnapped, like somebody driving down the road grabbed him on me, and we were getting ready to call the cops.
That's
And
scary.
it was very scary. And I hear this, like, he doesn't cry. He's like, eh. I'm like, oh my God, I hear him, Jim. We had a pond down at the south end of our farm, and he went down there. The water was low, and he got stuck in the mud, like at his ankles, but he couldn't move because he was stuck in the mud. I went down there and grabbed him because I remember when I picked him up out of the mud, his shoes sucked off his feet, and I'm like, screw those shoes. I was so happy to find my kid. I left the shoes in the mud down there. Anyway, scared the living crap out of me. And so, but I mean, it was like this. It was that fast. He was just like disappeared. You know, it's just like, oh my God, where the hell did he go? And I mean, it wasn't like 100 feet away. I mean, this was across a 6-acre pasture to get to that pond that he traveled that without us seeing him, got out of our sight, and now we're probably looking for him and can't find him, and you know he's down there. So I can see how that can happen. So
Yeah, that's true.
I have to watch when my kids are 21 and 22, and I keep an eye on them when we're out.
I don't always like to let Brandon be like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be like, okay, all right. I don't even like him like if I'm like in a different part of the store, him going to the bathroom by himself, but I gotta get over it, I guess. Anyway.
Let's see, where were we at? Oh, I used to do auditing in theaters. And this theater had the bathrooms. Okay, you come in the front door of the theater, and there's 2 wings. But you come in the front door, and that's where the big concessions area is at. And there's the men's bathroom on the left and the women's on the right. And you can cut through the bathroom and go to the theaters in the respective wings. Hey, 9-pound hammer. Anyway, this lady sent her little boy. They were in one of the wings of the theater, and he went into the bathroom. He must have been about 8, 9. And when he got finished doing his business, he went out the door that led back out into the lobby, not to the wing where the theaters were at. And he didn't come out, and I was standing there, and I noticed the mother, went over to the door, and she called a name, and I said, "Is your little boy in there?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "What's his name again?" And I went inside their ways, and I called him, and he didn't answer. And I said, "He's not answering." And I said, "I'm going out the other door." And she ran back through the ticket takers area around to the other side, and that he had gotten out there and was just standing there looking around for his mom. And she was so mad at herself because she didn't go take him into the ladies' bathroom or whatnot.
Yeah.
And but there was an attendant that was one of the employees was at the other end standing there talking to him. So they were probably going to get ready to announce it. Because they don't like people to lose their children, because there's this big red button, or it used to be a big red button, that when you hit that big red button up in the projections room, it turns on every light in the theaters all throughout the building, and it stops every movie.
Oh, geez.
So when they have to hit that big red button, it better be pretty serious.
Yeah.
I
have a lot of pissed off people.
A girl was there. She was a teenage girl. She had her like 11 or 12-year-old autistic brother with her. And she went to get something to drink with her boyfriend and was gone a little bit longer than she should have, apparently. He got scared because she hadn't come back, and she went looking for him. Well, she got back and he was gone. And she started freaking out.
Mm.
And so, you know, I was just waiting for the next round of movies to start up. And the managers who I knew, she said, how about stand here? And if anybody with a kid comes by here, tell them to stop. And so he was like down one of the wings on the other side of the theater, because the theater's basically laid out like a big H.
Mhm.
The piece that connects the two sides of the H is where the concessions and all that stuff is at. And then the sides of the H is where all the theaters were at, the houses were at. And he was down on the other side of the theater looking at movie posters. His sister was about to freak out because she was getting ready to have to call her parents. And apparently the boy was not, she was supposed to be there with her brother and not entertaining her boyfriend. And the assistant manager had already called the manager, and she said, if you don't find him in 2 minutes, hit the big red button.
Mm-hmm.
But they found him. But people would use that theater as a daycare.
Oh yeah.
They, you know, do you know by law? Okay, I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you in a bit. That you're not supposed to, if you've got a child that is not of age, you're not supposed to leave them unattended. If they're 17 years old, you can be, your parent is supposed to be there with them. Now that's the law. That's the way it works. I mean, that's the way the law reads, but it's not the way, you know, it plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah, those code Adam. Julie says her 4-year-old son wandered off in the Walmart. They called a code Adam and locked the doors. He wandered off the TVs. When Saul came out, y'all remember Saul? It was, they did. It should have been an X, but they did what it needed to be just to get it down to an R.
Mm-hmm.
Not an X, an NC-17.
Okay.
That's between an R and a X. Anyway, these 3 teenagers, they were like 13 years old, came in, and their parents went up because, you know, they can't buy tickets to an R-rated movie by themselves. Their parents got their tickets for them, sent them in, and they were going through the ticket. They were going through the ticket checker, and they said, I'm sorry, you can't see this movie. You're not old enough. And they said, well, my mom bought it from them. And there was a girl named Sherry. And Sherry was about 5 feet tall and about 4 feet wide. And she was an African-American girl. And she was the sweetest thing you could ever want to, any person you'd want to know. But when you cross her authority, she gets to be a real witch. She said, we need to call your parents. Or you can go see something else, or you can see we need to call your parents. And they said, well, our parents bought us tickets for this movie and we wanted to see, we're going to see it. And the first thing she did was motion to the police to come over, because this kind of was a dodgy theater at night. And they had police in there at night.
Oh.
So he came over and she told her what was going on. And he said, well, young man, we need to go try and call your parents. Well, they couldn't get hold of their parents. So they agreed to go see a rated G movie. But they had to, when the parents got there, they had to come in. They had to come in to get them because the police were wanting to have a talk with them.
Oh boy.
Because he said, if they've not agreed to go see the G movie, then he would have had to call DSS.
Wow.
But I learned a lot out there about laws and I mean, it was real interesting. It was just, like a Friday and Saturday night gig. I'd go out there and count people and count box office receipts and stuff like that. There was this. I was out there. I was counting people, and
And
that's okay, Craig.
oh,
That's okay, Craig. He said he had to go pick up his daughter. Anyway, I was it was one of the Harry Potter movies came out, and I had to be there, and I had to count everybody that went in to see that movie.
hmm
Now I got paid fairly decent to do it, but I was there all day long. I kept seeing this guy walking around in a trench coat. It was a tan trench coat. Nothing creepy about him, but I just kept seeing him all day long. And finally, the manager happened to walk by, and I said, "There's a guy in this house that I've seen him all day long here." And she said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, he's been here ever since I've got here this morning." And she said, "Well, you've been here all day." And I said, "Yeah." Now there you can go if you want to buy tickets to everything in that building and stay there all day long and watch movies. That's fine.
hmm
But she went in there and she asked him to come out so they could talk for a minute. He said, "Well, I thought because I bought one ticket, I could just continue watching movies, go from one screen to the other."
oh, jeez.
And she's like, "No, sir, that's not the way it works." Which he says, "Okay, I'm sorry." And he left. But he was there. He probably watched $200 worth of movies. But I mean, he was serious. I said, "Did he act like he was trying to shoot you a line?" She said, "No, he acted like he was really serious." And but people would do that, and they always have people watching the door, the exit. So because, like I said, if you're at the back of the theaters and you're walking down towards the exit, there's all these movies that might just be starting, and so people would dash in there and to catch another movie. I would have never thought about doing something like that. Never.
Yeah.
I guess I was just brought up too straight or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, some of us are brought up with common
Yeah.
sense.
I'd die of shame getting busted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I because if you're nice, and honestly, like I said, Sherry, she was the nicest thing until you just really started rubbing up against her authority.
Oh, I thought you were rubbing up against her. She was real nice until you started rubbing against her. I'm like, God, Tom, what were
Okay.
you doing in this movie?
You start messing with her authority,
Okay.
you become a bitch real fast. Like she was getting ready to put two teenagers out the building one night because it was two guys, and I think it was when Saw 2 came out. They were only 16. They could not go into this movie without an adult with them. And they called her a name. And I thought she's going to body slam one of them. But she just reached up and she motioned the police to come over because they always had police out there the night that these kind of movies would come out. So these gentlemen are underage and they're being argumentative and they need to get another ticket, or which they would have refunded the tickets. If you can't get into a ticket, the person at the ticket counter is going to get their ass chewed out. But they'll give you your money back if you don't want to see something else, because they can't let you go into that theater. Some good times, though. I saw two girls get into a fight. They're about 17-year-olds. They got in. Hey, Commonwealth Picker. Good to see you. I don't know what their ordeal was, but they came out of the theater The movie was going on. I don't remember what it was. They came out. They were fussing and fighting and scratching.
Boy.
And they got out to where the lights were, and it was on. One of the security guys was about 6'3", and he was scared to get involved. Not
Yeah,
because, he was going to get in trouble, because he was scared he was going to get his eyes scratched out.
Yeah, girl fights can be wicked.
So that night we happened to have we had a couple of female police officers working that night, or they did. And they came over, and two young ladies that were police officers broke up the two ladies that were fighting. And they did not try to be nice about it. They did not try to be dainty about it. They had one on the floor and the other one's arm behind her back. It was crazy. But I saw a lot of movies. If you haven't seen Cinderella Man, that's the one about the boxers.
Mm-hmm.
You ought to watch it. That's a really good movie. I had no intention of watching that movie. And that was the first thing I did for this company. They said, we need you to go do an audience reaction. And basically what you do is you sit there and you just see how people react to different parts of the movie. And it was a really good movie. I'm glad I got paid to do that. And then when a Medea movie would come out. This screen had 20 houses, 20 screens. The opening night of any of the Medea movies, they would have it on 16 screens.
Really? They were that popular?
Full.
Huh.
From like 6 in the evening till the 1 o'clock one would still be full. Oh yeah, they were real popular. Never had any problems with fights and stuff like that on those nights. But dadgum, let a horror movie come out. Hey Marie, let a horror movie come out, and it was going to be nothing but problems. Because they want it to be like they want to use the theater as a babysitter. No, I never saw anybody drop off like under 10-year-olds. So I'm talking about young teenagers or 11 or 12, 13-year-olds and buying them tickets to R-rated movies. Hey, Pamela. Just Pamela. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time, girl. You got time if I drop you a link? Huh?
A Canadian girl.
Yeah. If I drop you a link, you got time to come in? Well, there it is if you do. Or if anybody else wants to come in. I'll ask you if you just be
Put
nice.
the link in the chat so naked people can get on.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, I'm gonna be a little. If I don't know them, I'm not going to bring them all the way
well,
in.
I come backstage so you can look at them first.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah. Don't want nobody shaking their naked parts at me.
That is so
If
cool.
anybody comes in under my name and they're showing their nuts, it ain't me.
Yeah.
Or if they're showing big boobs, it's not me.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't have either. I'm just saying.
Did you see that feedback I got on my cat fur jacket, Tom?
I saw it, and I still cannot believe that the woman's so stupid.
I know she left me that. Where I'm like, we came over that auction. I'm like, oh, we got a negative, Jim. Yep, old cat fur lady. So does put this thing always every time it's all caps cat. This coat was made of cat fur, which is illegal or whatever. That kept pissing me off. So Jim's like, there's something you can hit to ask to revise the feedback or something. So he types up this thing, you know, how this lady is, what the hell did he say?
Nuts.
No, he used more like a better word for nuts, though. I can't remember. Anyway, he writes this whole thing, you know, about, you know, we had it checked by a furrier. It's not cat fur, blah, blah, blah. You know, and all this stuff. Basically, yes, the lady's nuts, but he used a better word for it.
Right.
So anyway, he sends it. I'm sitting in the other room. He goes, "Oh my God, Tara, when I sent that to ask for a revision in the feedback, it sends it to the buyer person leaving the feedback." I'm like, "Oh yeah, like they're gonna revise the feedback after you just typed up that thing, virtually telling them that they were nuts, you know." So we got up in the morning, and she changes it to a neutral and says, "The coat was too big and heavy for me, so I returned it." After all this thing, you're gonna turn us into the police. So we take the return. I'm real hassler about it. We're like, yep, just, you know, initiate a return. You'll get a label, send it back. We'll send back your money, blah, blah, blah. And then she has to leave us a negative feedback how we're selling this cat fur coat. Anyway.
That's ridiculous. Hey, Lothar, how are you doing?
Well, some people are able.
Your
Yeah,
cat
that's-
fur.
Well, look at that.
Here it is. This is it.
Cindy
I gotta put
Rosen.
it out there. This is my cat fur coat. That looks like domestic cat fur, doesn't it? Nice tag or something. I don't know.
No, it does not look like cat fur at all.
Not
No,
at all.
It's an Asian raccoon, is what it is.
She's probably around town telling everybody, "Oh my God, I bought this jacket on eBay and it was
Yeah.
cat fur. It's made out of a cat."
Yeah, except I got it relisted. I don't want that in my negative in my feedback. This negative that I have this cat fur coat I'm listing. You know.
Did you see what Cindy Rosen posted on her Facebook?
Oh my God! Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah.
That's creep. That was
What was
creepy.
it? Cat sperm?
And
Oh,
dog too.
Yeah.
It had to be fake. Cause okay, now this is gonna be gross. But it came like in a Gatorade bottle, and then the dog stuff was in another kind of. If you're jacking off cats to fill up a Gatorade bottle, I mean, you got to find something else to do with your time. Because I would think it takes an awful long time to fill up a Gatorade bottle with
There
cat.
goes
what was
Tom
she
Zero.
selling?
She took a return on something, and they sent her these 2 bottles of this white liquid, and they put these like labels at one. It doesn't say sperm, but what's that word for?
It starts with a G, but it means sperm.
Yeah. And one
And it
said
said feline.
21-month-old feline, and then the other one was like a 16-month-old dog or something. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be okay, maybe you think it's a joke or whatever, but I'm the person who thinks that you've been jacking off cats for 4 months, saving up all this Gatorade bottle. I mean, the joke
Maybe
somebody's should be lucky that she didn't call the police on them.
she did.
she did
I
call the police.
yeah.
Oh, did she?
Well, you don't know what it is. I mean, it could be something
Yeah.
really bad or whatever. I don't know. You know, I don't blame her for that.
But the police said there's nothing they could do about it.
No.
Well, how about the post office?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it's legal to send semen in the mail, so I don't know if the post office would do anything about it.
How do you know that, Tara? I mean, I'm not doubting you. You know that.
Because I've bred horses in the past, and I've had semen sent to me well, not to me direct, but like the veterinarian that's inseminating my horse. I've sent horse blood in the mail. Yes, you can send all that stuff in the mail.
But still, don't you have to like do some? Don't you have to like put hazardous material or something on it, or
No,
something on it?
even when we used to have to send in blood, we don't have to do blood samples anymore, really, because you just got to pull some hair out of the tail. But we used to have to do blood samples for DNA testing, and you didn't have to put anything hazardous on there.
Oh, because you'd think that would be like biohazard or something.
Yeah.
Not for animal, I don't think.
Oh,
I never had to. I mean, usually, like, if you were shipping horse semen, like if it's fresh cooled, it's going to be going in a canister. So yeah, it probably has some kind of tag on it that says, that it's something or another. I don't know. Anyway,
Chara.
now you just never know.
Well, leave it to an eBayer to get something like that in the mail.
well,
Yeah.
it's never been sent directly to me, but I have bred horses, and yes, it's been sent to the vet that the horse was at.
Well, I didn't know whether you had a side business going there because apparently Jim is extremely fertile.
Okay, that would be gross, Tom. Okay, that would be super gross. No, I don't deal in human byproducts.
That's funny.
Hey, there's a YouTube video of a guy who's got 18 children, and they all know about each other because he was like donor 263 or something like that.
Oh yeah, great. My dad was the old guy that was always there donating semen.
Have mercy. What a group of people.
A Commonwealth picker.
Well, that really took the show off the rails for you,
I know. I
Tom.
mean, that's
But
funny, though.
anyway,
But you know what? Hey, now that was a reseller. That was reseller related because she's a reseller. That's why she got as a return.
Yeah.
yeah, the Sydney Rosa thing, that was kind of gross. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, what kind of asshat would do that? I
Do
mean,
you want to hear the grossest thing I've ever received from eBay? Okay, I bought something. Can't even remember what it was. They sent it to me in a cardboard box. It's a cardboard box from a funeral home that when they ship the loved one's ashes in, it's the box that the ashes were in. They used it to recycle the box to ship it to me. Except the creepy part is, okay, now we're going to get to the creepy part is, they had written this poem on the box that said, like, roses are red, violets are blue. Something with ashes, you taste good in the brownies or whatever. But it was all a rhyme. But in other words, in the poem, in the little rhyme poem thing, they insinuated that they had put their loved one's ashes into whatever and consumed them, which I'm like, hey, yikes.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just a joke. I hope it was.
That's the reason I really don't like getting returns. If it's not something expensive, I just tell them throw it in the damn trash. You just don't know what you're going to get back.
Well, that wasn't a return. That was something
that was a
bought on
purchase.
eBay.
yeah.
I don't remember what it was. And it would have been something that had nothing to do with that, like a horse statue or something like that. I've never had anybody ship me back anything gross, like on a return.
No.
Anyway.
You know, I've never had anybody fart around with returns ever myself. I've been pretty, knock on wood, I've been pretty lucky. I've had people say that things don't work and they do and stuff like that. But I mean, I've never gotten anything other than the item back.
Well, you have a thing where they're trained to say that, like the lady with the cat jacket. She said that she didn't have to leave me the negative. She's kind of being a bitch there, in my opinion, but whatever. You just don't get hung up on it. But in the environment on eBay you're in, they're going to say something's wrong with it because they don't want to pay the return shipping on it.
Yeah.
So they're always going to open up the item not as described because they don't want to pay the return shipping. It's in human nature to cheat.
Yeah.
Did you have to pay the return shipping on it?
Yeah, because it was cat fur.
Okay, well, she changed the negative to
I know. Jim was sick, and I always make Jim do the calling to eBay, and sometimes it's like, is it worth it? Let's put it this way. By the time I sit around and call frickin' eBay and be on hold with them or whatever the hell else, I mean, $9 in shipping. Could I go make $9 a different way? Probably. I mean, this
Well,
is.
my thing is that to protect somebody else from her getting away
I mean,
with
there
it.
is no protect. You think well, eBay don't care, and I like eBay. I'm not bashing eBay, but it's already in the buyer already knows. If you open it up as an item not as described, that's it. They're going to do it. I mean, you think about, and I don't get a lot of returns. I mean, if I looked at my return rate right now, it's probably like 1.2%. So that's not really. I mean, you'd expect that selling as much stuff as you sell, that you're going to have that much in return. I mean, that isn't really that bad.
Well, and we're just getting over January too.
I don't know. It's just sometimes you just got to move on. Just let it go. Just move on. Don't get hung up on it. You can do something so much more productive with your time than being hung up over this $9 shipping that this lady got over
That's
on
true.
you.
That is true.
You're very true there. Very, very wise, Tara.
I don't know about that, but anyway. Sometimes yes, because I can get ticked off about something and I'll get hung up on it like a broken record. That's not helping my productivity on making money or doing stuff that I should be doing. So if I had to pay myself to do this, it's worth me to pay myself $9 to go do something else than frick around with this shipping this lady got on this cat jacket. So
Well, if you're gonna ship that damn cat jacket, I'm just harassing you.
I'm gonna go get some cat fur jackets and send them to you, Tom.
Are you kidding? We do not wear real fur around here.
No, you don't wear real fur.
We do not do real fur in this family.
Tom would cry.
We are proud to say this mink jacket is fake.
Well, I'll sell them. Like this one here, I paid $5 for this coat. So if I'm sitting at an auction, I see a real fur coat sell for $5. You damn right, I'm gonna buy it and sell it.
I understand that. That's fine. It's just oh, that was a long time ago. Never mind, Greg.
I always wanted a fur, but I just don't know where I'd wear it. I really don't. I don't know where I'd wear it really.
Back when my first wife and I got engaged, every other weekend we were either at my church, we'd go to church at my church, or we'd go to her church at her church. Spreading time between the two families. We were sitting in church, and there was a lady, like in July, and there was a lady sitting in front of us that had on a mink coat. And you could see the sweat running down the back. I mean, she was literally sitting like between Jane and I were sitting here, and she was like sitting right here. And I looked at Jane, and Jane was looking at me, and she's making like a face like, what the hell? You could see the sweat running down her neck. They kept that church pretty cool, but not cold enough to need a mink jacket. It was all about show. That's all it was. Because Jane and her sister were laughing about it, and her sister said, "Well, I'm gonna start wearing my big old dangly diamonds. Some kind of cheap costume jewelry thing she had." And because they were talking about her being so pretentious. Roberta's never said anything about want one. But like I said, we don't wear, I mean, being that my sister-in-law and my niece are in the business of animal adoption, they kind of frown on wearing real fur. And and my sister-in-law always has. Did I tell you they got my brother at one of these rescue places? It's not a Clydesdale, but it's like a Clydesdale. big old horse.
Like a Shire or a Belgium or a Percheron or
Yeah, something like that. Big old horse. And I said, "What are you going to do with him?" And she said, my brother said, "Well, I guess I'm supposed to ride him." He said, "My legs will be out like this," because they when they bought them, they went to Pennsylvania and got him
oh boy.
or her. They had they were at a tack shop up there and they found a used saddle for that type of horse, or for a big horse like that.
Mm-hmm. You mean he's not riding around in the plantation saddle down there?
Nah.
I had a plantation saddle for Jim, but I sold it. He never really rides.
My niece has a side. She bought a side saddle,
Oh yeah, I had one of those too. I sold it too.
and my brother's like, she's gonna bust her ass.
Yeah. I never rode side saddle. I mean, not with a side saddle.
Well, there's this little town called Lowry's, and they have this big Christmas parade, and it's all like horses. Everything's horse driven or animal, drawn, whatever you want to call it. And people come from all over the place, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So she thought that she would, take her barrel racing horse and put the side saddle on it and get all gussied up and use it for the Christmas parade. And you'd have to know my brother. He's like, she's gonna bust her ass. She's used to getting on the back of a horse and riding, which she barrel races. So she's got to have a good gig going on that. But
so what is she, rodeo, or does she do like NBHA?
just rodeos. Yeah, she's the one that when she was little, she and her daddy tried to do this thing where like her daddy would be standing at one end of the arena, and she'd come blasting out of a door at the other end, and she'd run down to him and spin the horse around, and he was supposed to jump on the back of it. It's called rider pickup, I believe it is.
Yeah,
And then they would run back to the other end, and they would time them. So they were practicing in their pasture. And every time Terry would try to jump up on the back of the horse would buck and throw him off.
boy.
And my niece, Savannah, just thought that was just as funny as could be until he kind of kneed the horse in the hauncha, I guess is what you call it, the back leg. Not intentionally. He was getting up on him. And it bugged him and her off. And she was done. It was not funny anymore.
I knew a lady that broke her arm doing that. They call it like monkey on a barrel.
We went and watched her race one night. Or we went to the rodeo to watch, specifically to see her. And she does really good. But there was this one girl that came out of there. She was on a solid white horse. I don't know what it was, what kind of breed it was. But that horse, we'd get down to those barrels, and that sucker was just like the rider had to tuck her arm in to keep from dragging it in the dirt. That horse would just kind of like lay down on its side cutting those barrels. It was really amazing. She was like South Carolina State barrel racing champion and all that kind of stuff. But some of these horsing activities get real expensive. We have a big cutting horse population down here. Do you know what that is? Where they, hey, Kafafi, how you doing? Where they lead animal. I mean, like cows in the pens or whatever, and they basically using their
they
knees and the horse to do it. We have some of them horses are like 40 grand.
That's cheap.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Some of those
for me.
horses are.
That's a lot of money for me.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of money for me too. I have a friend who I worked for. I used to exercise racehorses for her dad, and she was real into rodeo and barrel racing. And she bought a barrel. Well, she had a lot of good barrel horses, but she bought this one.
Horse?
Oh, it's a horse that runs around barrels.
Really interesting fact.
Okay,
Tell
go.
me more
Goodbye.
about this horse.
Okay, will you be quiet then, and I
No.
will.
My kid,
she
my
went down.
your kid.
She went down to Mississippi and bought this horse. He wanted for charity. I think she paid $175,000 for the horse. Anyway, yeah, they've
Lord
dumped a
have
lot
mercy.
of big money on those horses.
I know, everything's expensive.
Horses are a good way to burn a lot of money. If you want to try to go broke, go get involved with horses.
I know the guy who golfs all the time. He's got like 20 grand in a pair of golf clubs, and I hear that's kind of cheap.
Well, the thing about golf clubs is if you don't go golf that day, your golf clubs aren't in the garage going, feed me, put shoes on me,
well,
have the vet come and look at me and all that stuff. So there's a lot of upkeep to the, because you have those costs to take care of the animal.
My point is that everything is expensive.
Yeah.
You're right. You're not having to feed the golf clubs or the $40,000 bass boat if it's sitting in you still got to go feed and water and take to the vet or have the vet come out, have the farrier out, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anybody want to come in with us? I'll throw the link out there.
Is anybody watching us?
We
I've
got
got
about 15 people.
I got something reselling to say.
Okay, we'll say it.
All right.
All the magazines or catalogs that are coming in the mail are all wedding related, so you probably should get anything wedding related listed.
Okay.
Season's coming.
Yes, you got a very good point there. Because
So if
wedding
you have
season is
wedding
coming upon us.
dresses or guest books or jewelry that's wedding that looks like it would be for a wedding.
We gave
Get it listed.
my nephew, we gave them money, but we put the money inside of an envelope, and then we put the envelope inside of a really nice silver toned our wedding picture frame that was still in the original manufacturer's packaging that I got from the thrift store for like 75 cents. And Roberta's like, "You're not going to give him that, are you?" I'm like, "We're giving them a couple $100. I think they can, Anyway, my nephew said that my niece-in-law was so excited about the picture frame, she really didn't care about the money. I told him, I said, "Well, why didn't you give it back then?" He said, "We went on our honeymoon, remember?"
Mm-hmm. And that also goes for prom related too, because prom's right around the corner. That's what, May?
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's coming up quick too. So anything prom related also you should probably get listed.
But prom, that's something else that's got out of control. My sons went to a small school, so they went, they didn't really, they wore tuxes and the girls wore fancy dresses, but they didn't really go over the top. One of the guys that I still stay in touch with, it was a Cub Scout father. He said that his son spent $3,000 on prom.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what the hell did he do? He rented a limo. And then they went to some like Ruth Chris Uptown, which is a fancy steakhouse.
Yeah.
but then there's this whole will you go to the prom thing that they're doing this now, which has got to be a show.
Yeah.
I'm like, man,
Well,
when I went to the prom, it was a suit. I had a tuxedo and I bought her a corsage. We went out to eat, and then because there's like 4 couples that went together. We all loaded up in my mom's Kingswood station wagon that I was driving, and we went to the prom. I mean,
oh, not now. They gotta rent limos and everything now. Even when I went to prom, a lot of people rented limos.
I never went to prom. I figured I'd go do something fun that night.
I went to my junior and senior prom.
I didn't go.
I did too. One of these days when I'm at my mom's house, I'll make some scans of my prom pictures and bring them in here. I was so skinny. Makes me
Oh, God. Jim sleeping. He went to prom. This is so rude. Okay. And he dumped the girl he took to prom there and left the prom with a different girl.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's real nice. I mean, and he's still like, well, we don't live there anymore, but she would still like run into him in town and like talk to him. She's married to like another fireman on the department, so he'd always be like seeing her a lot. And then he's like, yeah, I dumped her at prom. I went out to the parking lot, got drunk with this other girl, and me and this other girl took off together, and he left her just hanging at prom by herself.
Oh.
No, that's not cool.
No, I don't think it's cool either. I mean, she took it well because she's nice to Jim. So anyway.
Oh gosh, she must. Them northern girls are a lot nicer than them southern ones because those bitches would have been like crucifying him. The girls that I hung around with, oh Lord, they would have. They'd have burned him in effigy if they didn't actually burn him at the stake. But I ran in. I was down in Rock Hill, and I ran into some folks from my high school that was home visiting their families. And I'm not a vindictive person, but it was so nice to see all these little skinny rich girls, alleged rich girls from my high school now that have put on a bunch of weight. And they don't look like they're rich anymore because they're not living off of daddy's money. But
yeah,
it was so nice. See, I can see, apparently Nikki was wealthy when she was young.
Yeah.
She probably went to cotillion and all that kind of stuff.
No.
Got all dressed up with the rich kids.
We don't have cotillions up north.
My parents always told me we were poor, so.
They don't have cotillions up north?
No, I don't think so.
What a bunch of heathens.
I don't even know what a cotillion is.
It's a fancy dance in the spring that usually the rich girls are they come out into society.
Oh, well, see, there's no rich people up north, so it ain't like the old South. It ain't like the old South with 12 Oaks and Tara getting together for our people.
Yeah, we don't do that. We go to prom. That's about it.
We have some friends, some neighbors down the street that are from England, and their kids were so excited about when they got into high school and they started hearing about prom because they don't do prom in England.
Oh.
And so they were, even their son was, he was real excited about it because it was just something that they didn't do over there.
I thought they drank butterbeer and went to dances together.
I don't know about that, Tara. All I know is they don't do prom. And their daughter, she was telling her friend about it, and her friend's like, "Well, we need to start doing that over here." God, I'm still getting comments about that damn snow video.
You'll never live it down, Tom. You could have.
What
You
snow
should have put it
video?
on YouTube. You put it up on Facebook, a video of the snow. You should have put it on YouTube. It probably would have went viral.
I didn't see it. I'll have to go look.
Well, if I'd have done what I thought about doing afterwards, it probably would have went viral. Oh, Angie's got one. Oh. So how's your sales been, Tara?
Today they weren't great, but they were good. Thursday, Friday was pretty good. I think Friday I did like $800. What today is today? Saturday was bad. I think maybe I did 100. Thursday I think I did like 500. And then I think there was like a couple hundred days before that. So the beginning of the week was sort of shitty. Then it got better, and then well, today so far it's not been great.
It's broken.
Well, it goes like up and down. You'll get like a couple flat days, and then you'll get like big spikes. It's a little
Right.
different than it used to be. It used to be like you could say, oh, I can consistently make X amount pretty much every day. Now it seems like you'll get like these big spikes on certain days. I don't know.
Have you and Jim ever talked about if the eBay online business went to shit?
Have we ever talked about it? If it
Yeah,
went-
if it ever went kaput because like say the government's got so many damn taxes on it and blah 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 blah. What you would do?
I guess if if like I totally thought I couldn't sell online ever again, I'd probably, I guess, go get a job then. No, I don't have any kind of like safety net, Tom. I have no contingency. My only safety net would be stuff I own or money I already have. But I guess I felt like I could absolutely not make a living anymore online. I would have to probably go get a job then. Like if it crashed today and then you couldn't sell anymore online, yeah, I just had to go get a job. I suppose Jim would probably get a job too then.
Is that you, Nikki?
Yeah,
Is that Gary?
that's Gary. Yeah,
Okay.
big difference, eh?
Let me see if I can. I'm gonna have to screen share that. That's all there is to it.
Oh God.
Oh, this is just too good. Where's it at? Where's it at? I think that's it. Can y'all see that?
Not on YouTube. Oh, there. Yeah.
That's Nick and Gary.
My high school prom.
So you'd been like 17 years old,
Yeah, I was 7. Yeah, I was. Yeah, well, yeah, 17.
and Gary was like 35.
He was 22.
He's what?
22.
22. I knew he was a little bit older than you. But,
5 years older than me.
well, y'all just accused those speckled puppies.
I didn't know, and I have a friend who her husband was a little bit older than her, and he took her to prom. But I didn't know that somebody that was over 18 could take another person to prom.
Well, they didn't ask his age.
Yeah, when I was in high school, they had to still be in high school.
Yeah, and they didn't even like when I was in high school. You didn't even have very many kids that brought somebody that wasn't in the same school as you. I mean, that was really rare. It was kind of a big deal, and now I don't think it is
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Well, I remember they were saying that they were going to make it so you couldn't bring somebody that wasn't in the same school as me to prom, but then they never made it that rule. So
They didn't care about if you brought somebody from another school.
Oh.
Because like I said before, on another date, we had 2 high schools in Rock Hill, and so a lot of kids, you know, depending on where you lived in the city, you either went, if you didn't go to Northwestern where I did, you went to Rock Hill High. And there's some spots where the kids on one side of the street went to Northwestern, and the kids on the other side went to Rock Hill High. So there was never that. And people came from Fort Mill and York High School too. But you just had to still be in high school.
yeah.
I see
Kid-
Gary there with like a flask, you know, giving all the other guys, you know, alcohol and stuff.
Yeah,
Spiking the punch at prom, you know.
that's right. Hey, the Gearmeister's here. Let's see what he's got in his coat pocket. How long have y'all been married, Nikki?
26 years. It'll be 27 years this June.
God, y'all are still so young. Hey, Donatella. How are you doing?
Yeah, I've been married for more than half my life because I'm only 45.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see, how many years have I been married? Brandon's 12, so I've been married 12 years.
It's still a long time for these days.
Is it? Well, well, Jim's been married. I mean, Jim, his first wife, I think he was married to her for 14 years, so we haven't beat that record yet. And
I'm pretty safe.
9 Pound Hammer says I only made it 19 months. Dude, I got you beat on that one. The first Mrs. Tom Hucks and I were only together from August to January.
Oh my God.
That's it. Donatella, you got time to come in for a few minutes? I need to ask you something.
Nope, I didn't elope. I had a huge wedding.
Yes, you lived after prom.
I'm Italian and Catholic. There was no eloping.
Oh yeah.
My dad
you
wouldn't
gotta have the
even,
wedding soup and all that kind of.
my dad wouldn't even let me have it in a park. I wanted to have it outside. Absolutely not. You will have it at the church. He said, if you have it at a park, I ain't paying for it.
Carol, I'm not surprised by that at all. Carol says, I'm Catholic, Nikki.
Yeah.
She just seems to be oh, that's okay. You know, as long as nothing's showing, that's fine. Lynn, you can come in too if you want to. Just make sure everything's covered. We're kind of gun shy since Sally got hit. Before Roberta and I met, I was dating a girl who was Catholic.
Uh-oh.
And she was married before and had a little girl. And I had been married before, and I was a Baptist. And she was wanting to get married at the church. And we met with her priest came out to their house, and we were sitting talking with her. It was the priest, the girl and I, and her mother and father. And, you know, to be married in the church, then I would have had to convert and all of this kind of stuff.
They weren't going to let her get married, were they? Did she have her first marriage annulled? Because if you're divorced in the Catholic Church, you can't remarry in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
unless the marriage was annulled, because like
Yep.
I've had friends that are divorced and they can't get remarried in the Catholic Church, but like Jim's first wife was pretty much Catholic. They didn't get married in the Catholic Church,
I
but
don't
she
know.
wanted to remarry her husband. She wanted to get married in the Catholic Church, and they still wanted the marriage annulled, even though they were married at a Bible church.
I was not. The further we got into it, she had a little bit of a drinking problem, and I just was not.
There ain't nothing wrong with a drinking problem, Tom.
Oh no, there's a drinking problem, and I was just not. I was not going in that direction.
Hey guys.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey,
Oh,
well,
Speaking of drinking problems,
yeah.
doesn't everybody in Louisiana have a drinking problem?
Pretty much, you know. I'm probably the only one that don't drink.
Sheldon says, I live streamed from the bathtub once, Tom. Yes, he did. I saw it. You can't unsee things either. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, whenever LSU went with Atlanta and a couple other different big colleges, they dried the bars out. They ran out like early too, from what the news said.
I'm not much of a drinker, but I was impressed as hell when we were at the Riverwalk Mall, the original Riverwalk Mall in New Orleans, and my friend Chris and I were drinking. They call them yard dogs. They're the big, tall plastic glasses, and we were drinking those. And Roberta and Sandy came back from shopping, and they said, "We're ready to go back to the ship." And we're not finished drinking. And the girl that was behind the counter, because they had this on one side, they had a full bar, and on the other side, they had all of like the little icy machines making frozen drinks of any flavor that you would want. And she said, Chris and I have been talking to her. She said, "Oh, just take them with you." And we're like, "We can't take these on the streets." And I said, "You can't take these on the street." She says, "You're in New Orleans. You can take anything on the streets." So we drank them on the way back to the ship. We had to dispose of them before we could get on the ship. But
yeah, I think the big drink down here that's famous is the Hurricanes.
yeah, that's what I was drinking, was a Hurricane. And I don't know how they mix those suckers, but I felt like I'd been hit by one by the time I got back to the ship. Because, like I said, I'm not a big drinker. So how things been going with you, Glenn?
Well, like I said, I meant with my work and all that's keeping me busy. You know that. So I went to garage sale this morning, found a John Post kind of like coffee table book for like $5. It weighs like almost 10 pounds. It's huge, but they get, and it's signed too. His books get decent money. On eBay and all that. So I hope to get about $60. Well, like about 50 for it.
Cool.
For that $5 investment.
Was he actually in the bathtub, like taking a bath?
Yes. Yeah, he was.
Okay, I didn't know whether he was just sitting in the tub,
No.
like trying to be funny.
No, he was taking a bath. He didn't show anything,
Right. Well, I hope not.
I'm blind now, Nikki, and you are going to the doctor for your retina. I know. I have to have shots in my eyes now.
Oh, let's don't go there. Well, dang, maybe you need to go see Dewey, Cheatham, and Howell and see if you can get some money out of the night out there.
Yeah, get some of that Audi money. Maybe get a free Audi out of it.
How's the weather been down there, Glenn? Did y'all?
Oh, yesterday was like 39, morning, or no, 34. But this morning it was like light winter for a couple hours, and that's about it. Then Warmed up to t-shirt weather.
That storm that we got all the rain with a few days ago.
They came here originally, but up north, they got hit really bad up north Louisiana.
Yeah. It was showing it, starting down in the Gulf and coming up through, the Panhandle, Georgia, through Charlotte, up through Raleigh, on up to the Yahoo land.
Right.
And I think it turned to snow when it got, further up north, but it was just one continuous thunderstorm, and we had tornadoes around here.
And we missed that part of it. We probably had about 4 or 5 inches of rain, but it rained like it was all done in the morning between, I say 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning. And when we woke up, it was wet, but it was all gone.
Delden, I'd take your Audi, but it's always getting hit, so you can keep it.
Are you talking about a car?
Yeah, Audi. Don't you know what an Audi is?
I didn't know whether y'all had some kind of like little perverted thing going on here that the rest of us was not involved in.
Oh yeah, me and Delden, we got a secret. Don't tell anybody.
How's your eBay business been, Glenn?
Kind of slow from that, like I said, I got the shop one. I've been selling a little bit on that, and it's been like kind of almost dead. I saw some ink last week and all that, and as soon as they got it, they opened a return. So it was dry. The ink was dried.
Oh.
But I saw one too the week before that one, and for even more money, and they said it was okay. They didn't, give me no feedback, but they haven't said anything. But I got actually a bad thing. I had like 12 of them listed at the same time. I woke up that morning and 4 or 5 of them had 0 violations. But they left the other ones up.
Was that on ink?
Yeah, ink.
Really? You got a Vero on it. Was it like HP brand or something?
It was HP brand.
Really? Huh.
I sold HP plenty of times, so I didn't want to. But
I sold it too. I've never gotten a Vero on it.
But it said something about being in certain foreign countries it goes to that violates policy. So I guess I might just say it's only sold in the U.S. only.
Oh.
I need to find out about is that what they meant by the violation? Because, DSP versus this local. Well, you don't know if it's your competition calling you, ratting you out too.
I got a police badge pulled down on me last week.
Right. I remember you were saying that in one of the morning show.
Yeah. Yeah, I was skating the line there too. So.
Yeah.
Then she got caught selling cat here, cat fur.
Yeah.
Which wasn't cat fur.
It's Dalmatian fur. I dyed it.
Yeah. So you be careful now. Anything that you sell in leather now, you might get this crazy lady saying that's cat.
I did, and I don't know if I read this somewhere, but there's like some places in California that are outlawing fur, but it's new fur. So I guess vintage fur you could send into that area. But I was like, oh, that could be like a sticky wicket too, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It's I don't know. I think she got it, she wore it, and then she didn't want it.
Yeah, it was too big, and it's heavy. I mean, and she's in San Diego. I mean, how much you gonna wear this coat down in San Diego? I mean, I've never been there, but I would assume it's pretty warm there.
I think it's warm there all the time.
Yeah.
Anybody from that area in the chat want to comment?
I had, oh my God, we sold one of these Star Wars Blade Builder lightsabers. Okay. This was a couple weeks ago. Jim labels it. It went out in that day's shipment, labels it, drops it at the post office, and we call it, an hour after, the tracking scan of the post office, the lady opens a return.
Oh, geez.
I don't know that as described because she didn't realize she already had one. So she's like, oh my God, why did she wait? I mean, it's like, probably right after she got the email for a tracking upload. It's like, why the
Yeah.
hell did she cancel this? I wouldn't have had to do this. But, because she opened the return, we just sent the item. So it's not even in her hand yet. So he called eBay like, what should I do? Because she initiated this return item as described, and an item she doesn't have yet because I just dropped it off at the post office, so it's still in transit. So the lady's like, okay, well, I'll make a note. Don't do anything. He goes, because I don't want to get a strike for not accepting a return. Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, you won't. And then, okay, well, I'll make a note. Don't do anything. He goes, because I don't want to get a strike for not accepting a return. Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, you won't. And then, okay, well, I'll make a note. Don't do anything. Anyway, so
Hi, Donna. How are you tonight?
I'm
we
good.
didn't do anything, and eBay, goes and accepts the return on your behalf because you don't do it, and that's
Yeah.
like a bad strike on your account. So then Jim calls and tries to say, this is another thing why we hardly ever call eBay. So he does this thing. He's like on the phone for an hour. Well, I just don't want to have this strike on my account. This is what you told me to do, and they're like, okay, well, we'll call you back. And of course, when they tell you that, they never call you back. So anyway,
Yeah.
now we kind of forgot about it.
Tara and her husband Jim, they had a coat returned because the woman said it was cat fur. Domestic
It's
cat
illegal
fur.
to sell domestic cat fur in the United States, which I will tell you is true.
And she did not sell cat fur.
No.
So here's my question, Donna.
Yes.
You seem to have the most stuff that you're always auctioning off and stuff like that. Where do you get all of this stuff from, if I may be so blunt to ask?
I want to say hi to my friend because she shed. I was chatting with her on the phone and I said, I'm going on Tom's channel. Come on over and subscribe. And she's in there. She says, I've been summoned. So thanks for being here, Robin. Hello.
Welcome, Robin. Thanks for coming out.
This is Tom and his friends. You know Glenn.
Hey, Donna.
Hi. So you know what, Tom? I hustle my butt off. Okay. I buy, I buy storage units.
Right.
And then I also have this relationship with this I don't know what he is. I think he's Lebanese or maybe Egyptian or some sort of Middle Eastern man. He buys pallets and he sells pallets, and he sells, you have to buy like three pallets at a time. Like there's like $1,200 minimum to make a purchase. But he lets me take like his leftovers. He'll call me like if a pallet. So all of his pallets are they're curated. They have what are they called? The slips. The
Documentation, or no, what you're talking about?
what are they?
Bill of origin, or
The inventory.
Yeah,
Like
the inventory slips. There's a word for it. They're
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
what is it, Glenn? What were you saying?
Bill of origin, but it's another name too. I can't think of it. It's more
Relating?
international or
No. They're manifested. That's the word. They're manifested. So his
Yeah.
pallets are manifested, right? But every once in a while, like the pallets will rip open, like when they're taking them off the tractor trailers, and then they're like not manifested anymore because he has like over spillages and stuff, and those kind of go in an area. And he'll call me and say, come down and see if you want this stuff, and he gives it to me for like dirt cheap. But it's a challenge. I talk about it on my channel all the time because I have to like follow him around. I have to wait my turn. I have to like be patient. He's always on the phone. He's always wheeling. He's always dealing. There's always people there. So sometimes I'm there for like 4 hours, like to get inventory. Like I'm kind of a thorn in his side, but maybe I'm not, because he does call me like all the time and say, come on down, I've got some stuff for you. And sometimes he puts a really high price on it and I don't want to pay that price. And I have to like gently like try to haggle with him. And, but he always calls me. He always calls me back. So I guess I'm not really a thorn in his side, because he'll always call me when he has stuff. So a lot of the stuff is shelf pulls, brand new inventory that stores will pull from shelves, and then it goes to the auction house. He goes to the auction house and he bids on the pallets, and then he sells the pallets to whoever, resellers or whoever the people he sells them to. So, like, for example, I have that connection, and then I have another really great connection, which I just picked up a big load of stuff yesterday from a thrift store. I have this great relationship with a thrift store where everything that I get in a storage unit that I don't bring to auction, like, for example, plates, pots and pans, dishes, furniture that doesn't go to the consignment shop, lamps, my linens, my towels, like that kind of stuff, I donate all those to the animal rescue people. So I donate them all to this small little charity store. And when she gets a big shipment of stuff that she thinks I can bring to auction, she'll call me. And, you know, a lot of the times she just wants to give it to me for free because I support her nonprofit and I give her so much stuff. But I always, like, yesterday I gave her $250 and I left with literally a truckload of uncurated 25-gallon totes of just stuff. Like, she didn't even look at it. She was just like, I've got too much, like, just come and get it. And she'll just give it to me. And like I said, sometimes I get it for free, and then sometimes I'll just slip her some money, you know, just to help her nonprofit. So yeah. So in addition to, I have all these great connections. So yeah, it's
You
good.
just seem to have all of the stuff that you, when you're doing the online, the auctions on eBay, I mean on YouTube, you just seem to have such a random supply of stuff. And I was just curious about, where in the world you get all this stuff from, which I knew you did the storage lockers, but I didn't know how many, you'd have to do a lot of them to keep all the supply of stuff that you keep.
I hustle, Tom. I hustle. Like, I don't stop. Like, it's constantly. And then, like, for example, my girls just walked in from a volleyball tournament from Miami, so that's what all the noise is. I'm waiting for them to come into my studio room to say hi to me. That's why I keep looking behind me. Girls, come say hi. They just played a tournament in Miami. Come say hello. Say hi.
Hi.
This is my 16-year-old. She's 6 feet tall, and she plays volleyball. How was your tournament?
We're in silver.
You're in silver?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah.
What do you do with all of it after you get it? Do you have like a 12-car garage, or do you have a warehouse someplace?
I only have a 2-car garage, and my husband has it set up so great for me. Here, I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture of what it looks like on a good day, because we all have our bad reseller days, don't we? Where we just have like so much inventory that we don't know what to do with it, right? But on a good day, here's a picture of what my garage looks like.
Wow.
Yeah, so that I have 2 walls. That's one wall, and then there's another wall on the opposite side, and those are like heavy duty shelving units that my husband installed for me. And so what I do is, if you ever watch any of my videos, I go through all of when I buy a storage unit, I don't load it up and just bring it home with me, because I don't bring any cardboard home, because cockroaches live in cardboard. Just that that's like their favorite breeding ground, inside the corrugated cardboard. So I don't bring any cardboard home. So what I do is, like, one of my last videos, you can see I did a little video of how I do it. I line up my bins, I bring my bins, I line up my bins, and I sort at the facility, wherever the storage unit is. I sort, and I put all the clothes in one, the toys in the other, the miscellaneous, the electronics, everything gets sorted at the facility, and then it's brought back home, and it's put on those shelves. And then when I bring things to auction, I'll pull the bin, whatever the bins are full, whether it's clothing, men's clothing, women's clothing, children's clothing, jewelry, electronics, vintage, whatever it is. I pull that bin and then I build a lot from that bin and then I replace the stuff in those bins. So I do have like a system that I try to, that I try to implement and stay. I mean, I do lose it sometimes. Like when I say lose it, like it gets really messy and crazy. And then I have to go in there. Like right now, it's a little bit messy and crazy. So
It's just like the other night you were doing on I believe it was actually on your channel, and T was there moderating it for you. You had like all these little bags of jewelry, costume jewelry,
yeah.
and I was sitting here thinking, it's like, she's liable to pull out a bin full of daggum stuffed animals next, and it's like,
Yeah. So I purchased a huge amount of jewelry at an estate sale, and I have my friend Dolores. She's in a lot of my videos. She has severe OCD. Everybody needs to have an OCD friend. She's like, her favorite thing is to like match up earrings or match up the similar jewelry. Like a lot of the times you'll see that I sell jewelry jars where I just throw everything in the jar and I just sell the whole jar. But with the earrings, sometimes like I'll get messages like, oh, there was only, there was one of 5 different earrings in the jar. So I try not to put earrings in jars because people get upset when they don't have matches to earrings. So all of the earrings, they stay separate. So when I find jewelry in a storage unit, it goes into a Ziploc bag. So I know that all that jewelry came from that one unit. So when it's time to sort and match, I know each bag is from that specific unit. So chances are there's going to be matches in it. And then the ones that don't match, they go into what we call our bits and pieces jar, where people buy them for crafting. So there's a system that I have for the jewelry too.
and you go through them to make sure there's not any like
I
silver or gold in it.
The estate jewelry that I just bought, I did, but for the most part, no. I mean, you can
The stuff you get out the storage units, you just store it.
Sometimes if I see something and it catches my eye, I'll pull it out. But for the most part, and if you watch my auctions, you'll see these ladies, they pay up for my jewelry jars like a lot because they find all kinds of silver and gold in the jewelry jars. So I look at it this way. Do I curate every single thing and pull out every single little piece of silver and gold out of the jewelry jars, or do I let them go and continue to build my auctions? I had 129 people in the auction last night, and there's a reason why there was 129 people. It was because people are getting good stuff from me. Like, they know they're getting really good stuff. So for me right now, instead of bringing the jewelry to the jewelers and cashing it in for 30, 40, 50, 60, $100, whatever it may be, to me, it's more important to build my channel, build my subscriber base, and build my auctions, because in the long run, that's what's going to make me more money than pulling out little bits and pieces of gold and silver out of jewelry jars. So I sold last week, 2 weeks ago, I sold a sterling silver teapot, sugar and creamer. It was so tarnished, and I mean, I'm not gonna clean it. Then I just thought it was silver plated. I didn't know. And a woman by the name of June Ludenberg bought it, and she paid $40 for it. And she cleaned it, and it was stamped 925 sterling silver, and she brought it to her jewelers, and the guy wanted to buy it for her on the spot for $600. She paid $40 for it.
Well, you probably, on the long run, you probably make more. You've made more than that $600 because
You
you're
can't
able to turn this stuff over fast.
you can't pay for that kind of advertising. You know, you can't pay for that kind of advertising. Like I consider that, like, yes, I would have liked that $600 in my pocket for sure, but if I were to advertise my YouTube channel somewhere, wherever you would advertise a YouTube channel, you pay for advertising, right? So I chalk that up to advertising cost. When someone scores big time, and I always tell people, please do an unboxing, you know, let us know what you find, because I now have created a playlist where people have done unboxings and people can go on and watch them, and people can see what, you know, other people can see what people have won. Like, for
Right.
example, Robin, because she shared, I don't know if she's still in the chat or not. My chat looks like it's not moving anymore. Let's see. She has found all kinds of stuff in the jewelry jars. That's how we became friends. She's like, girl, you need to like look at your jewelry jars a little bit better, because I found this, I found that. And she's yeah, Robin's still there. She says I always score. So from her buying my my stuff, we have become friends, like good friends. You know, we call each other all the time, which is, that to me is so much more valuable. Like I made a true friend with her. Like that to me is so much
Right.
more valuable than pulling out the silver and gold out of the jewelry jars. You know,
Do you-
that's how.
Do you have some guys that work for you that load up all this stuff from your storage units and whatnot, or do you have
I
your
do.
daughters and your sons go help you, or
My son and his friends are really, really great. And then my husband is a general contractor, and I tend to go after the big units. A lot of people can't handle the big units. Like it's much easier to buy like a 5x10 or a 5x5 unit to empty out. It's like the 10, 15 by 25s or 30s that most people, they won't even attempt because they don't have the equipment. Well, my husband has a hydraulic trailer. He has a great big huge pickup truck. So we try to plan it around where I drive the truck all the time. I drive the big red truck all the time. It's no problem for me to drive the truck, but I can't drive the truck with the trailer. I probably could, but I have to drive straight. if I have to go like around corners, or forget backing it up, because the
Right.
trailer's huge. And I have a video out there with the trailer and us going to the
is it a box trailer, or is it just like an open trailer?
It's an open trailer, and it's a hydraulic one. So
Okay.
It's got all the mechanisms. You just throw everything in it, and then you go to the dump, and you push the levers and the buttons, and it just goes up, and then you drive forward, and it just dumps all the stuff.
Oh, it's like a dump bed.
Yeah, it's huge.
And that's what we call them up here, is a dump bed.
We call them
We have
dump
one of those.
You
Well,
have
that's
one?
cool. I just, every time I watch your videos or your auctions and whatnot, it's just like, God, she's got so much crap. That's my word, catch-all word for all of this stuff,
I know.
And then I hear you talking about furniture and things like that, and I was just like, man, she must buy a lot of units.
Well, I usually bid on, like, every week I bid on about 12 units. I bid on about 12 to 15 units. And then what I do is I put a proxy on like 2 or 3 of them, meaning, the most I'll pay for it.
Right.
And then I can't handle more than 3 units a week between the auctions and shipping and billing, because that's a lot of work. Like it's really, really easy to pick something up and present it, but billing and packing it and shipping it and doing that part of it is it's the hard. I mean, and preparing for it too.
Right.
Preparing it to come to auction, because there's a lot of thought process that goes into it. Preparing for the auctions. Like if I'm doing like a mixed lot,
Right.
That's why, to me, coming up with the system of sorting everything at the storage facility, number one, to keep the critters away, and number two, I'm building my lots at the storage unit. So when
Right.
I bring them home, half the battle's done, half the work is done. So, yeah. And I get rid of a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff goes to the thrift shop. A lot of stuff that you'd be surprised. It's hard to let go. When you're a reseller, you look at things and it's like, you see dollar bills, you see dollar signs. And, I try to list some stuff on the local marketplace. I don't use Craigslist anymore, but I try to use the local marketplace for some stuff. There's a consignment shop that I bring some of the finer furniture to. They don't do really well with it though, so I haven't really brought much down there. I did a video of that too. So I just usually donate it or just give it away.
I recently just got connected to this guy that lives in a town south of us, and he has like a thrift store. We're just going to call it that. And he had ran an ad in Craigslist and that he was needing stuff for a store, and he came up and he bought a truckload of stuff from me, paid for it, and because it's not a charitable thrift store, it's a for-profit one.
Yeah.
And stuff that I was getting ready to throw out because even the thrift stores don't want them, odd and end plates and stuff like that. He said, he was like, I'll take all of it. You got 25 of them here. If none of them match, I'll give you a couple of bucks for them. And because he says he has a lot of people from South America that come up here, men that come up here, and they just need a plate and they need a cup, for wherever they're staying at and that type of stuff. And he says he sells a lot of it. So he told me, he said, every time you get some stuff, I will come get it. Because I wasn't gonna take it to him because that's eating away at your profit, even the very little bit of profit.
Yeah.
And but he says I'll come get it, and he's got a box truck, and he must have took about 6 boxes of junk back with him.
Yeah.
I mean, I call it junk because you can't list it on eBay. It's nothing that you sell on Craigslist or one of the online apps.
Right.
It would have gone to the thrift store.
Yeah, I have this Haitian couple that I call when I have clothes that I don't want to bring to auction, and if I want to make a few dollars, I donate a lot of clothes to the charity store that I work with. But I also have this Haitian couple. They buy lots of clothes. They buy lots of shoes from me, and they buy suitcases. I find suitcases all the time in storage units. People pack their stuff in suitcases and put them in storage units all the time. So they buy all the suitcases. So yeah, I have people like that too that I can call on and they'll come and pick up my stuff.
Hey Donna, you
Yeah.
need to learn how to back up those trailers. You're setting women back, by the way.
Let my husband do it. Make him feel like he's involved. Yeah, it's way too big, Nikki. It's huge. It's a huge
I used to drive semi and stuff. I can back up any trailer. So
Really? Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not. I mean, I could probably learn if I do it like in a parking lot or something, but
yeah,
yeah, I just let my husband do it. And then a lot of the times, what I'll do is, as soon as I open up the storage unit, like usually you get 72 hours to clean it out. So what I'll do is, as soon as I open up the storage unit, if it has things like a washer or dryer, big pieces of furniture, whatever it is, instead of hauling it to either, like I was saying, the consignment store, but I don't really bring stuff there, or hauling it to the thrift store, I'll throw it right on the Facebook Marketplace for like dirt cheap, just to have them come and get it. Like, $25 for a dresser, just to get rid of it and tell them they have to come within 24 hours to come pick it up. So they're hauling it out of the storage facility. I don't have to deal with it. So a lot of the times, even before I leave the storage facility, I'm making back my money of what I paid for the storage facility
Right.
just by selling the big stuff for super, super cheap. And I don't care. I just let it go for super, super cheap, just to get rid of it, so I don't have to move it.
You were talking. I give clothes to like business looking attire to a ladies shelter uptown that is trying to help them ladies get back into the their
Dress for success.
yes, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, get them back into the workforce, nice
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And luggage and stuff like that, small bags. I have gotten connected with a lady that works for DSS, and she takes them to like foster children and stuff like that to use to move when they move from foster home to foster home to move their belongings in instead of using a black plastic bag.
Yeah, that's really nice. I've heard about that. I think there's a program, Dress for Success. The charity store that I give a lot of my stuff to, they're not a per se Dress for Success, but they do like they do work with women that are getting back into the workforce, and they do have people that come there and say that they need clothes for an interview and stuff, and she gives them for free. So she does like her own little Dress for Success without it being the actual. I don't know if Dress for Success is still, if there's any chapters here in South Florida anymore. I'm not sure. I haven't looked, but I just give her everything. It's easier for me to just give them everything. How often do you buy storage units, Tom?
Not very often. Last year I was buying one or two a month,
Oh,
and this year I have just not done any because I just had other things going on.
yeah.
But and I'm one of the people that buy smaller ones, because I don't have the storage facility to store buying a lot of this stuff, and the big ones, and I guess I kind of play with the storage unit type deal.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I've had a couple of shows and we've talked about buying storage units and whatnot, and that's the biggest thing that you have to think about is what are you going to do with all this crap once you get it, because there is a lot of crap in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I seem to get like a couple of banker boxes full of unopened bills, that kind of stuff.
All the time.
And you have to deal with it. Too bad too bad you can't sell paper, to a recycler, because you could make some pretty good money off of these bins just recycling paper if it paid fairly decent.
As a matter of fact, the storage unit that I just emptied, I think I still have the picture here. So what I do is, this was I think from Friday. What's today? Saturday. So
Yeah.
So this one was like, I think we did this one on Thursday, and just to give you an idea, like this is what I do. Like I take a picture of the unit, so when I go to the office, they don't have to go to the unit to make sure that it's clean swept.
Right.
So this is what I left behind in the unit, and all of that is personal paperwork. But I'm not talking bills.
Right.
That's like after I sorted everything. That is just pictures, yearbooks, diplomas. I always give them back their medical paperwork if there's like MRIs or paperwork like that. I always give them back that paperwork. But all of like the light bills and the credit card bills and the all that kind of stuff, I just throw it away, Tom. Like I don't even give it back. They don't want that stuff. They just don't want it. So most facilities will I'll just leave it in the unit and they'll go with the golf cart and collect it and pick it up. No, I don't bring it to the office, and then when I go back to get my deposit, I'll say to them, this is what's left in the unit. It's all personal all personal paperwork, and all of the baby pictures and the kids. And sometimes I'll even include like if it's a unit that has a lot of like kids' toys in it, I'll put together a box with some of the toys that belong to the kids, with some of the kids' school papers and like their, um, um, uh, report cards and stuff like that, so that like you can tell, like this unit here had two kids, a boy and a girl, and I left behind some toys, some coloring books, some crayons, some backpacks, and I made boxes for each one of the kids, so if the parents do go back and collect the stuff, the kids will each have a box with some of their personal effects in it. I get very emotional. I get very, very like, Tom, I don't know about you, but you can really profile a person and
Right.
and their storage unit. And these people, both parents had drug problems.
Yeah.
Both parents were addicted to drugs. Both parents had been arrested. DCF had removed the children more than once, and very sad, very, very, very sad. So kind of stays with me because I'm a very emotional person anyways. So, when I profile these cases, some of them really stay with me, and I feel bad. I feel bad for the families, so I try to give back a little bit.
You would not get your deposits back by leaving that stuff in the bins around here.
No,
No, not here either.
It's got to be clean swept, nothing out. They don't want any of it.
No.
Now
Yeah.
I cleaned out one unit, and it had a girl's high school diploma, some awards, her cap and gown and stuff like that. I gathered all that up and I took it down to the high school and I said, look, I bought a storage unit. This stuff was in it. Here's her diploma. Here's everything. Is there any way you can try and get hold of these people and say, you've got their... This girl had just graduated like last year.
yeah,
So it was, her mother's unit that was being auctioned. Is there any way you can get it back to them? And they said, we were glad to try to leave it. But otherwise, you have got, if you want to meet with them and give it back to them, then, that's up to you. But when you buy a unit around here, you clean it out. There is nothing left in it.
no,
And
That's
no, not here. The facilities that I deal with, they come right out and they tell you find any personal effects, please leave them behind in the unit or bring them to the office so that we can try to contact the owner. That's how they do it around here. I'm sure different trends from different
it
areas.
used to be like that around here. And I had one storage unit manager tell me that they had like a 10 by 20 full of people's stuff. They don't care. Most of them don't care.
yeah.
One of the managers I have a kind of relationship with, because he'll come in and say, hey, I got some stuff that people didn't pick up. You want to come dig through it and help me clean it out? And I will.
I have those connections too, as well.
He said that, when I get something, he knows that I am open to pulling out personal documents, things like that, and setting it aside. And he will call people and he'll contact them beforehand and say, do you want any personal property? Or documents and stuff like that, because there's one of them had this woman's divorce decree. She had like a 4-inch packet of where she'd been in front of the DSS, the family court, and all of this kind of stuff. And I went up to the storage manager and I said, have you heard from these people? Do they want any of this stuff? And he said no. And I said, can I leave it? And he said no.
Yeah.
And I don't have a place to store that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
the
I
way
told him, I said, I'll keep this stuff for about a week. And then it's going to be going at when they pick up recyclables, it's going out in recyclables. And so if they contact you, or if you can give them a call and say, I will be glad to bring it back up here, I'll do that. But, like I said, they don't want anything left in it because
No.
because it used to be you turned in photographs, any legal documents, bills, anything like that. And excuse me,
Bless you.
I have a cereal sneeze. But anyway, but now they don't because he said, like that one unit manager said, they had a 10 by 20 just slapped full of people's paperwork and pictures and stuff like that. And it really breaks my heart because when I actually have a box over here that has all these kids' photographs and things like that in it from school and whatnot. Because that part of their life is gone.
Yeah.
People don't
Right.
care about that stuff anymore.
They don't.
The way I see it is, I paid for the unit. It's all mine. I'm gonna throw the stuff away that's not any good. If they weren't responsible enough to get the storage shed, that's their own problem. You know, I mean, because these storage units, they give people chances to come in and pay part of the price on payments. They'll give them payment options. They give them like between like 3 to 6 months to be able to get caught up. I mean, they give them plenty of chances to get caught up.
Yeah,
And I
but you
mean,
know what?
I've been in this so long that, you know, it's their own problem if they don't get it, you know.
But there's situations. One of the units that I bought recently, I returned all her pictures and her personal items. It was another sad story. The whole back of the unit was all neatly packed stuff, like very, very neatly packed stuff. And it was her mother's things. Her mother had a tremendous Vera Bradley collection. Like I sold Vera Bradley pocketbooks for literally 2 months at my auctions, like brand new, never used Vera Bradley pocketbooks. This woman would buy Vera Bradley pocketbooks and just put them in boxes and store them away. It was crazy. It was crazy. Never used them.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so the back of the unit was all her mother's things, all her mother's beautiful things, tons of jewelry, beautiful clothes, all kinds of stuff. Then when you got closer to the middle of the unit, you could tell that it was kind of like things started, things were changing. Like things were like, well, I started from the beginning and found a lot of junk and then went to the middle. And it was like, started getting better. And then the back of the unit was like a home run. So, but the middle of the unit was kind of like, something was going on, like you could tell, there's something changed. It wasn't really nice stuff. It was kind of like hippie kind of stuff, a lot of candles, some drug paraphernalia. The beginning part of the unit, when I first opened it up, was a hot mess. It was like, oh my God, what did I just get myself into? Well, come to find out, the girl, and I found a whole bunch of letters, both. So she had her mother's things in storage. She had been paying them for storage for a really long time. Her brother was incarcerated for 10 years. They had been writing back and forth letters for 10 years. He was incarcerated in some jail outside of the state. She was incarcerated. Like, I found so many records of her being in and out of jail. And the most recent, why she defaulted on the unit, was because she ended up in jail for failure to appear on a misdemeanor, and she ended up in jail, and the storage facility manager told me that she just had no way of paying for it. It went 4 months. They waited 4 months. She went to jail for like 4 or 5 months. She got out like a week after I got the storage unit, because I brought back a bunch of stuff. So like different situations. I mean, I know she was making bad choices and she didn't, failure to appear. She ended up in jail. She had been, had sentencing, but she managed to pay, however she was paying it, that storage bill for months. But when you're in jail and you don't have any other family except for a brother who's incarcerated, I mean, that was a sad situation that she lost all of her mother's things. That was another one that kind of broke my heart, that happened. And then my husband had a man he was doing business with, a very, very wealthy man that he was doing, home flips with, and an investor. Well, he told me a story because he knows I buy storage units. He changed his bank account information. He had his father's things in storage for like 10 years. He didn't know what to do with all his father's things. He was paying storage on it for 10 years, paying. Well, he changed banks and he forgot that he had automatic payment coming out of that bank for his storage thing. He had changed his phone number from like 10 years ago. He had a different phone number that they had on file. He's chiming in because he's hearing me tell the story. He had changed his phone number, changed his bank account, and finally, like 4 months later, he's like, "Oh gosh, you know what? I just realized like I haven't paid the storage fee on my dad's unit in like 4 months." So he called them up. That unit was going up for auction the next day. He caught it by 1 day. He almost lost
Yeah.
that storage. This is a wealthy man who was paying on a unit for 10 years. So I guess,
Yeah.
Nikki, what I'm trying to say is everybody's situation is different. You know, there are some sad cases out there that people lose their units for. Some people, yes, I agree with you 100%. Negligence, they have plenty of warning. He wasn't getting the emails. He wasn't getting the phone calls. His phone number had been changed. His bank account had been changed. He completely forgot about it. It was 10 years of automatic payments just coming out of his account. And then one day he was like, oh my gosh, you know, the storage unit. Like I haven't
Yeah.
paid for it.
Just Pamela, who lives in, excuse me, just Pamela, who lives in, I started to say Colombia, but she lives in Canada. She says the same thing. Their units have to be empty.
Mhm.
But like I said, you know, they don't. It used to be in this area, you returned any personal document you found. Now
Have you ever
they
tried?
don't want any of it.
Have you
The
ever
thing
tried?
is that there's so many sob stories out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not heartless. I'm one of the most caring people you'll ever know. And I'm very sentimental and everything. I have tried to return stuff people don't that I've gotten at auction. They don't care about it, whatever. But you know, at some point, you know, you're running a business. I mean, who has the time to sit and chase these people around, or you know, giving them back all this different stuff? I mean, eventually it just gets too much, you know. And the thing is everybody has a sob story. Everybody, and as soon as they find out that you're, you know, they'll give you a story a mile long just so that they can get their stuff back. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes you just gotta draw the line and say, you know what? I'm just tired of taking all these people's sob stories. It just gets too much. I don't. Maybe it's just around here. I don't know, but eventually it's like, you know what? I got a business to run. I don't have time for these people's baloney. You know, everybody's got their own responsibilities. Everybody has rough times in life. I've lost a storage shed before on my by my mistake. C'est la vie. What the heck was I supposed to do? You know, I made the mistake. I forgot to pay it. I lost it. And for some reason they never sent me a bill. I don't know why, because they used to send me a bill, and then they for some reason stopped sending bills, which I was unaware of. Anyways, I ended up losing the storage unit. It actually had my husband's motorcycle in it. Boy, was he pissed. Because it wasn't like I didn't have the money, but it was just my negligence. But nobody cared enough to say, hey, you know, there's a motorcycle in here. You want to come and get it and pay for the storage shed? No, nobody went out of their way for me, you know. And I'm a very charity-minded person and stuff. I mean, I hate for you to think any less of me, but I don't know. After doing it for so many years, and just eventually, you just got to know when to say when, you know.
How many years have you been
Well,
doing
that's
it?
nice that you do that, huh?
How many?
Bye, buddy.
Bye, Glenn.
Bye, Glenn. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. How many years have you been doing it, Nikki?
Oh, I've been doing this since the 90s.
Oh yeah.
No. And I mean, I don't do storage units much at all anymore because they're so far and few between here. And usually the storage units around here are, you know, some welfare person defunct on their rent, so they had to hurry up and get out. So they hurried up and moved it to a storage shed, and then they don't pay for it, and it's all just a bunch of crap.
Where do you live?
So I live up by Duluth, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
And so most of it's just crap anyways. And so, but I do a lot of auctions, regular auctions, and I get a lot of people's personal stuff, you know. And I mean, there was this one book that I had. It was so beautiful. It was like one of those like high school scrapbook kind of things, and it was from 1920 or something like that. And it was just amazing. She had magazine pictures of the husband that she was going to marry, and the house that she was going to have, and the furniture she was going to have. And it had all of her high school stuff in it, you know, tickets from different plays or whatever. It had all the dates of every memorable thing. I mean, it was just an amazing, amazing book. And I think I sold it on a charity auction of Dwayne's. Anyways, excuse me. It was just an amazing book, and I ended up looking up the family just because it was such an amazing book.
Yeah, see, I'm in the Palm Beaches. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida. So,
But they didn't want anything to do with it. They were just like, no, I don't want it, you know. But it was a pretty good book, and I mean, I kept it for a long time just because I just like looking at it, because you know I'm a sentimental person also, and I just enjoyed looking through it, you know. But I mean, eventually you just gotta, you know, move on and sell the stuff and get rid of it, you know.
yeah, I mean, I don't search anybody out. I mean, I never search anybody out. Like I only just leave it up to the facility to take care of. And like, for example, tomorrow, if I have time, because I have 2 auctions tomorrow, but if I have time in the morning, I want to do I'm going to do a video. I bought a storage unit from the facility manager said to me, woman went into the witness protection plan.
Oh boy.
Down here in Palm Beach, and she had a lot of connections with people in Washington D.C. And the storage facility manager told me not to return anything because she surrendered the unit. So you know how that goes, right? Do you know how that goes when people surrender a unit? It's not a lien deed.
Yeah.
It's a surrendered unit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she surrendered the unit. So she actually paid, you know, to surrender the unit. And then the facility can do whatever they want with it. They can either just dispose of it because they got a clean out fee, or they can put it to auction. And they put it to auction. I bid on it. I won it. The facility manager said that she was in the witness protection plan and that not to return anything. And she took her time to pack everything really, really neatly, probably hoping that someday she'd be able to get her unit back. But the email that she sent came from an anonymous email, and she said, you know, that she paid by however she paid to surrender the unit. And she was a call girl. She was a high-priced call girl. I found designer pocketbooks and mink coats and evening gowns and evening wear and perfume and all kinds of expensive gifts in her unit.
And she did not find a little black book with all these John's names in it. No, you did not. No, you did not. We don't want to hear about Donatello disappearing.
I did find 15 burner phones.
Wow.
And most of them were all Apple.
Wow.
She had so many phones. It was crazy. So I sold most of her stuff. And when I was going through the bins, like a couple of weeks ago, I came across a whole bunch of her stuff, like some of her shoes and some of her evening wear. So I have enough to do, like, you know, a small video. But I don't know if you know, just recently Jeremy and George from What the Hales, they came down to visit me, and they stayed down here for 5 days, and they bought some storage units, and they gave me 5 storage units that they bought. They bought them just to do the videos, And then my husband says, well, what are you, the cleanup crew? I'm like, I'll be the cleanup crew. I'm fine with that. So they gave me the units that they bought. They bought them strictly to do. They only like cherry picked a few things that they took back to Ohio with them. And then they gave me everything else.
Do
And
you do you do on-site auctions or do you do like online auctions?
just online. Just online. So when I was telling Jeremy about the storage unit that I bought, the high priced hookers unit, I call it, it was like, wow, what a great title that is. He's like, I hope you made a video. And I'm like, I sold so much of her stuff. Like I literally picked up the unit like in the morning and I was having an auction that night. And
Yeah.
I had the stuff like handy. So I brought it right to auction and I sold so much of her stuff like right away. I never made a video that day because it was kind of like a grab and go unit. It was, it wasn't a big unit and we just went and I laugh every time I think about that unit because my son and 4 of his friends, I bought 2 units in that same facility that day. One unit had a whole bunch of little kids' bicycles in it and a whole bunch of little kids' toys. And my 20-year-old son and his 21-year-old friends, that was him and 3 of his buddies came to help me empty out the units. They were riding the bicycles and the tricycles like around the storage. It was an indoor one,
Yeah.
like crashing into the walls and stuff. And I'm like, I was yelling at them, and I'm like, you guys are supposed to be here to like help me. You're stressing me out. What are you doing? Like, I wish I had gotten footage of that because it was so funny. It was like, the mama bear like yelling at all the kids, for not helping. So I never got around to do a video, basically is what I'm saying, from the hooker unit. And then when I got back, I was running late and I had to get online because I had a scheduled auction. So I never did a video of it. And I was telling Jeremy, and he's like, wow, what a great title to a video. I can't believe that you did. So tomorrow I'm going to try to do just like in my driveway, just pull out some of the boxes and just tell the story, like I told you guys. I'm just going to tell the story about, going there and the facility manager telling me that she was in the witness protection plan, and then just show some of the stuff that high heel shoes that are like this high, that are like bejeweled and just all kinds of crazy stuff. This woman was like,
Did you find anything like this?
yeah, very similar to those, Tom. Very, very similar to those.
I've sold these things 3 times and nobody has yet to pay for them.
Oh, you're kidding.
I was at an auction one time, and I got just a whole crap load of bikes. Some were broken, some weren't, but there had to been 20 to 30 bikes there.
Oh my gosh.
And I ended up getting the whole pile of them for like $2 or whatever.
Oh my god.
Well, I thought, if nothing else, I'll just scrap them, the ones that aren't good. Anyways, my nephew, he used to manage this trailer court that was right next to his house. And he took the job only because he lived right next door, Well, this trailer court is like the crap hole of Duluth, And so there's a lot of low-income, families in there. And so my other nephew, who loves bikes, loves tinkering with bikes, he went through all those bikes, found the good ones, dug those out, and then he took the broken ones and he made quite a few more nice, decent bikes out. And he gave them to the kids at the trailer court so they had bikes to ride that couldn't afford bikes. So for like a couple bucks, and then I bought a couple inner tubes. And he ended up making a bunch of bikes for kids that they didn't have any bikes.
Yeah, this particular facility, I really like the manager at this particular facility. It's a huge, enormous, where I got the hooker unit and the toys that time. I took all the small toys, but the bicycles, and there was a Barbie dream house and a whole bunch of other stuff. She actually has, the manager of the facility, she has an area right outside the office where you can put things that you no longer want, and she lets people that rent units in her facility take from the pile whatever they want. So I left all the bicycles, and I left the Barbie dream house, and I left a whole bunch of stuff in the pile. And she was so happy. She was so thankful. She's like, oh my gosh, people are gonna be so happy with this stuff. Thank you for leaving it. So that's I think that's the only facility I know that does that. Has an area that they but I just want to say hi to Tara.
Oh, hey, Donna. How you doing?
Oh, Tara hasn't said a word, honey. Hello.
Hi.
So, are you a reseller?
Yep. Full time, me and my husband. That's all we
And-
do.
eBay
Yes.
and Macari and
No, I don't. I haven't tried out Macari. I wait to see how everybody else really talks about it. I don't know. Seems
And
kind of
they
hit and miss over there, and I'm not gonna. By the time I would go and post them, I was just go ahead and post it up on eBay for sale. So I only do. That's the only platform I sell on really is eBay.
And they go to a lot of auctions, lots of auctions.
that's where
She has a channel you can watch too. They got good videos.
Yeah.
that's where you get your stuff at auction houses.
Mostly, I've done storage units too. I just moved out of Wisconsin like in the last 6 months. We didn't get a lot of storage units up there, but once in a while I would do some up there. But I mostly do on-site estate auctions, auction houses, stuff like that. I prefer like an on-site like grandma died and they're going through an auction, everything off if I can. But I'll do estate
Me too.
sales, anything I can go and pick something up at.
Yeah.
A lot of auctions, so,
Farm auctions are where we do the best.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they are full time, support themselves off of eBay
Oh, that's awesome, Tara.
resellers.
Yeah, I would say I do 90% of the listing and my husband does 90% of the shipping.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
nice that you work together as a team like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring my 20-year-old son on board with me. He's kind of floundering a little bit. School's not really his thing, and he thought maybe he might want to go into the electrical industry, and he tried that for a while with a friend of the family, owns a commercial electrical company, and he kind of took him under his wing and showed him the ropes, and he wasn't into that. So he helps me, but he's not, he's my business isn't at the point where I can give him like a full salary yet,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to bring him on board to maybe vamp up.
Yeah.
Vamp
Why
up.
don't you go into the kitchen? Because you're sick. Go, those are mine. Thank you.
She's talking to her.
Yeah, I have this bag of banana chips. I bought 2, but he's been sick, so I gave him his own, but now he just stuck his hand in mine. So
Oh, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves in my house. No one is allowed to stick their hand. Sorry, my girl's coach is texting me. No one is allowed to stick their hands in a bag of potato chips, cookies, or anything like that. I have like such a pet peeve about it. Like it has to be, you have to pour it into a bowl or onto a paper plate or something. I hate when people do that, when they stick
I
their
like that too.
Oh my gosh, I hate it. And I think it's because I remember my mother when I was growing up as a young girl, like we used to we'd get together and watch like Lawrence Welk on like a Saturday night or something, and mom and dad would go and they'd buy, like treats, like bags of Doritos, and
Yeah.
it was like treat night. And my mom would pass the bag around. There was 4 of us kids, and mom and dad, and us kids were always on the floor in front of the TV, the big console TV. You remember those, right?
Yeah.
And the pillows and blankets on the floor. And I mean, I think the lineup was like Sonny and Cher, the Carol Burnett show, and the Lawrence Welk show. It was like a whole night of like awesome shows. Remember all those great shows?
Right.
Mom would pass the bag around of Doritos, and she'd like lick her fingers and reach
oh
into
no, that's gross.
and get the Doritos and eat them, and then lick her fingers and then reach out. And like I think I have because of that, like as an adult, like no one's allowed to stick their hands in any bag of anything in my house. And it's funny because all of my kids, I have 4 kids, and all of my kids' friends, they all know Donna's rule. No one's
Yeah.
allowed to do that in my house.
See, my mom was the complete opposite. Yeah, you weren't allowed to touch anything. You know, we had us girls had our own block of cheese, and the guys had their own block of cheese, because the guys would come in. My dad and my brother would come in and unwrap the whole entire block of cheese and hold the cheese and cut it.
Yeah.
Well, they'd end up with a black brick of cheese, you know, because their hands were never clean.
Yeah.
And we never wanted to eat that, you know. So they had their own block of cheese. We had our own block of cheese.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Yeah.
And I married a man who comes from a family where anything goes. They don't care what they put in their mouth, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was really my husband was fine with it, because he knew he was my brother's best friend. So he knew how my mom was and stuff, and he knows how I am.
Yeah.
I don't drink after anybody. Don't eat off my plate. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
But his family, I mean, his sister would get so mad because if somebody drank out of my glass, I'd be like, okay, well, you can have it, you know. That's what they do. You know, if there's a glass sitting there, they just drink out of it. They don't care who drank out of it. You know? Like,
I don't like that at all.
I'll tell you what, Tara
You get
doesn't like
so
to be
mad.
hugged. Nikki, don't touch her food. I don't know what I'm gonna do around you two.
Well, if you're gonna be like sticking your fingers in our food and trying to hug on us, yeah, I think we'll have to have a talk.
That's mine.
Sarah loves hugs. She likes the big hug.
Well,
She
guys,
likes to be shook a little bit too when you hug her.
it's 12:14.
Yeah.
We've been on here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Donna, I appreciate you getting dressed.
Oh yeah. No,
It looks like you put your makeup on
I
and
did.
showing up. I truly appreciate that.
I did.
I hope I didn't pry too much, but I like finding out how people do stuff.
I love talking about it. I appreciate you having me on. You know, I'd love to come on again sometime and chit chat and meet some of your people. And yeah, I went from being so camera shy to now I'm on YouTube all the time. We have our morning talk show tomorrow morning. We do the morning talk show on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and that's really caught on. A lot of people like to join in and have coffee with us. We do it on T's channel.
The coffee talk.
Yeah, coffee talk. So I'll be on YouTube 3 times tomorrow. I'll be on for coffee in the morning with T, and then I have my 3 o'clock auction. That 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I have my late night auction, which if you guys have never come to my late night auction, we have so much fun. Those ladies call me the QB Donna of YouTube.
What time do y'all start it?
Well, I usually start like around 10 o'clock at night, and we've pulled all-nighters. One night, oh my gosh, Tom, one night, there's this one guy, his name is Jonathan. Rosenberry is his name, and he buys from me, and he's just I don't know anything about him. He's just a really nice guy, and he started this like crazy thing. It was like it's probably like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, all right, he says, let's pay Donna. He goes, I don't want to go to bed yet, stay on, Donna, because we chit chat, you know, in between the auction. It's not just like auction. And everybody has a really good time. And so he's like, let's start this thing. Let's pay Donna $1 a minute to stay on. So people started sending me super chats for $1 a minute. So the first super chat I got was from him, and it was $60. So that meant I had to stay on for an hour more because I had said good night. I'm like, you guys, I'm tired. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to bed. And I ended up staying up that night until 7 o'clock in the morning. I started at 10, and I ended up until 1 o'clock in the morning because people kept sending $1 super chats to keep going another minute. And you wouldn't believe it. We had, I mean, it dropped down to like 60 at one point, but we had like a steady 80 people in the room at those wee hours of the morning. Like, it was crazy that so many people were like still. I hit my all-time high last night. I had 129 people in the chat.
Wow.
Well,
Isn't
That's
that
great.
great?
Yeah.
129 people. I was so excited. That was like my first time having that many people, that many viewers.
Well, that's good because that's giving you a good viewer base, and you know if they start coming all the time, that's more people for your auctions and
Yeah.
just more people for I mean more views for your YouTube channel and
Of course, all of the ones that started following me from the beginning, they're not happy with all the newcomers. They don't want any
Yeah.
more people, because it's more competition for them. They don't want any more people coming on. We call them the others. Do you remember the series Lost?
yeah,
Yeah.
Remember the others?
yeah,
So when someone new comes in the chat and they're gray, because everybody that's registered is blue
right.
records. So when they come in and they're gray, all of the people in the chat will start typing TO, the others, the others. It's really funny. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you for coming in. And anytime I'm online, if you got time, you want to pop in, feel free to do so.
It was nice to meet you, Tara and Nikki. Nice
Oh, you
chatting
too.
with you.
Take care.
Thank
Y'all
you.
have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thanks y'all for coming and watching.
Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thank you for being here.
Bye, everybody.